Anyway. I just had to do this. I've been gone a good while, and I know also people on OnlyFans learn what happened as well. And I've been having health issues and stuff. So haven't been able to do much. I got flap I gotta also work on. And so I owe some people some time within time, stuff like that. I'm doing this because, well, I related to U.S. presidents. And I have a lot of issues against, Asmongold, free speech, and how, free speech is absolute, and stuff like that if we don't like it. American kind, and stuff like that. It goes back to our founding fathers saying kill the redcoats, death to the redcoats, which was the government that was in place. And so our founding fathers would be deemed terrorists of today. They knew that when they created freedom of speech, that this could happen, today people want, an oppressive government or a criminal type of enterprise of criminals running the government that's happening today, both sides, and how people, would label us, that hate the government or whatever, as terrorists or creating terrorists and stuff like that. And so our founding fathers made that absolute with that. They didn't say freedom of speech, with the exception of, and Osmond is way off on freedom of speech. And he said before where, well, he doesn't want someone, advocating for his death or whatever, stuff like that, or, because it could happen to their foot. The thing is, that is freedom of speech. People want be dead or somebody else, that's freedom of speech. It is. Even though other people may find it sick, wrong, offensive, and stuff like that is part of freedom of speech. Our founding fathers put that in there with no exception and stuff like that. Osmond has also talked about how, with protesting is right way, wrong way to do stuff. I have my opinions on different types of protests as well. I think protesters that just go out and loot should just be shot and killed pretty much. I don't care what anybody says, I do. Because they're not contributing anything to society. They're not protesting anything, they're just looting. I think they should just be shot on sight. That's me. And stuff like that do that. They're not, protesting, they're not out there trying to make a difference and say, how bad or criminal the government is and just destroying stuff and everything like that. And the thing is, with let's get into this here. I want to get into this.
I know. Investigates the rise of extremism in the United States.
There's something wrong
good.
Listen, any news organization, whether it's Fox, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, etc., they're bought and paid for by either the left or the right, religious people, stuff like that, and it's like they're all about brainwashing and people have to think a certain way and everything, and they're a part of the problem. And don't trust either of them. Don't trust any of them, because they're only out to brainwash you. They're bought and paid for by political interests or religious interests that make donations or make hundreds of millions of dollars. They funnel into these organizations, and they tell them what they want on the news. And stuff like that. We saw that with COVID. We saw Bill Gates, etc. Can't trust any of them.
Let our people go!
Guys can protest and say whatever you'd like from the comfort of the sidewalk and the park.
Trump is your president! He's no prisoners!
Please do not try and come across the street.
Tony, I'm right behind you.
The thing is, I'm usually on both sides. This is why people can't get into my stuff, is because I'm too much on both sides of the spectrum of this. And I mean, one thing is with Doge, whatever, Department of Government Efficiency, a lot of these people voted for Trump and Elon Musk but lost their jobs voting for him. There's good and bad. There's stuff that I hate and like about Trump and stuff like that. I've been very vocal about it. And it's just crazy. Because now, with what Doge has done, and there's been a lot of criminal activity. Our government is run by psychopaths. There's a lot of criminal stuff that's been happening. And the thing is, when you cut government jobs, whether we like it or not, there to be extremists born from that want our people dead. That's a natural human psychological response. They lose their money. They lost their jobs. They cannot pay for their apartments anymore. Thing is, he's a gamer. He's making money. And there's a lot of stuff that he doesn't understand with human suffering that I do. We're different sides. I'm on different sides a lot of the time on different things.
There we go.
This is your enemy list.
This is the deep state target list. Just a portion of it.
Who's target number one?
There's
a huge disconnect between the narratives and angles that sort of mainstream media pushes and what the American public feels.
This is like McDonald's making a show about why are people so fat? Why is everybody so fat and unhealthy now? How the hell did this happen?
I'm not sure yet if you are or are not on the deep state target list, because I haven't consumed all of the information that you've put forth to determine what your status should be.
We've been hanging out
as we ruin you.
Oh.
I consume all of the information that you've put forth.
Now, how the hell did this happen?
I believe this is a Christian group right here, CPAC. Conservative something. Yeah, it's conservative something. I forgot.
I'm not sure yet if you are or are not on the deep state target list, because I haven't consumed all of the information that you've put forth to determine what your status should be.
But we've been hanging out
as we ruin you.
Oh.
As you what?
Oh.
What's your documentary about? Oklahoma City, or is it about Waco?
Well, it's about extremism in America.
I love how there's the implication that these different terrorist acts are being carried out by these people. Like there's any link at all between like the psychotic Waco cults and like fucking Trump supporters. It's crazy, like the level.
I mean, like this one guy, Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, DEI. I need to. I can't. Let's see. Or if it's on here or not. This is it. I have to go here. I have to.
America is in a new civil war.
I have never worked in an organization where we've had quotas.
I'll damn sure
This
tell
is-
you
we
that
need to
there
get to
is a
the
body
root
count.
I was seen as somebody with
about
false
this.
consciousness. I was seen as somebody who was a traitor to his race.
If DEI works anywhere, it has to work everywhere. Let me tell you where DEI does not work.
The NBA.
Our country is
sports.
getting more and more diverse. If you look at the census, in the next couple of decades,
You're a
white people
nut
will
job.
no longer be the majority. So DEI
You are
is one of the
nut.
most significant and
Did I say that
important
loud?
aspects of HR. So it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we need to be able to
It's discrimination, is what it is. And you have inequality and indoctrination.
understand how to
discrimination.
effectively work together so people feel valued and contribute to the organization in a positive way. I really don't want to come off as a white savior. As somebody with privilege, as
You
a
hate
white
white
woman,
people.
it is easier for me to
Listen, I ain't all white. I look all white. Alright? We go way back. I got so much and stuff like that. I got some Native American and I got some Asian, like way back. You know, way back. I'm mixed. But I look mainly white. You could be white, you could be racist. There's a lot of white racists out there. Here in California where I live, where I live up here in northern LA County, there's a lot of racist people. People have attacked me for being white. I've been attacked, you know, by black people because they see white people around where I am as bad and racist because they're taught that, brainwashed that at these stupid ass colleges. DEI. They say that white people didn't know we did do all this. No, we're not all to blame for it. But that was back when. That's back when. We're not the problem right now. DEI actually promotes racism, discrimination through indoctrination, inequality, and all that stuff. So it pushes white people out of jobs, particularly white men.
speak up in an organization because there is usually going to be less bias towards somebody who looks like me. So when I hear that DEI is sort of a liberal...
I hate DEI. I've attacked people for saying like on JLR. All right? People said DEI pilot, DEI this, DEI this, DEI that. I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? You guys are stupid. Say everything has to do with DEI. It isn't. But it's like, I have that balance to know that not everything is DEI. Some people go in, JLR investigates and they say, oh my God, this person must have been a DEI. It's like, you don't know nothing about this case. You don't know about these helicopter crashes, plane crashes. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, I know some women pilots that I trust my life with and everything. They earned what they got. They worked hard for it. But there's some other stuff, but there is DEI that I know of. I'm on both sides here and stuff. I'm not brainwashed. I'm very educated in what I talk about. I may use foul language a lot because I'm from the streets a lot, but...
agenda. That goes back to the fact that DEI is not charity work. Businesses are helping them get in touch with their customers, they're improving their employer brand, and they're able to be more creative and innovative based on their diverse population. I have a hard time accepting that anyone thinks that these are negatives. DEI is about building more inclusive processes. To me, the idea of no DEI, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Welcome
Thank you.
When you say diversity, what do you mean?
For me personally, and I think for the industry and in corporate, we are looking at it broadly. We're looking at diversity as bringing in different backgrounds, whether that is industry experience, race, gender, sexual orientation.
Well, now, wait a minute.
I'm all for that. I'm all for that. As long as we're all on the same, as long it's about education, and stuff like that. Because, you know, it should be about education instead of reading, writing, arithmetic, and stuff like that. I think we can all agree on that. I don't care what color a person is, what gender. I don't care if they're trans or whatever, as long as they can get the job done and everything. And so, I mean, but it's a lot different, and it's extremism in places like here in California and some other places where it's about canceling another person because they are white or something in particular and stuff. I'm all for equality, we all are, but it has to be about person's education level, where they can do their job or not, and everything.
When you're doing diversity training, you're not talking about industry experience. You're talking about racial diversity. You're talking about gender.
We're talking about all of the above. I think good diversity programs are really about broadening perspectives within an organization. And I've certainly worked for organizations where we only want people from a specific background. And
first of all, I have to give a shout out. I do for legal reasons because I don't want to get copyrighted. This is from Dr. Phil, Prime Time. Do a shout out. Another person was going over this and everything. And the rest of this is from what he said behind a paywall. But I'd sure love to see all of this because there's a lot of fact.
That can be very limiting and impact what your organization looks like in terms of race and gender.
Okay, well, you just said what it looks like. Mm-hmm. And that's what one of the big criticisms is that it's what it looks like, that there's diversity of bodies, that you've got a certain number of one from a certain race, another race, has nothing to do with diversity of ideology, has nothing to do with diversity of background. It has to do with quotas.
Right.
True?
No, I have never worked in an organization where we've had quotas.
I've employed as many as 1,000 people. Mm-hmm. Most of them union in the entertainment industry, and I'll damn sure tell you that there is a body count going on.
There is.
Does DEI work?
Yes. I have seen tremendous success in...
Are you aware there are 100 studies that suggest that it doesn't work?
There are also studies show that it does work. If you look at the Harvard Business Review, Deloitte...
Well, let's look at the Harvard Business Review because they actually did a study.
A different administration.
The study found...
Those are paid for by a different administration where they funneled in hundreds of millions of dollars to fix that narrative, that story, that, hey, ours is working, ours is better than the way it was. And this is the problem with extremism. I'm going over all of this. Because we are in an ideological civil war. We're not shooting guns and muskets at each other right now, but we are in a civil war of thoughts. And both sides are so extreme and full of BS that they pretty much just want us to kill each other. Is really, in the old days it wasn't like this. When I was younger, it wasn't like this. We could have Thanksgiving. We had different views. We could have Thanksgiving, have chicken, and mashed potatoes and stuff like that, biscuits. And it's like now people don't even want to sit down. It's like everyone's weaponized and everything, and there's no room for having, a common ground, stuff that we do have common ground on. People wanting, just affordable health care, a good job, and other values and stuff like that. Instead, it's about, hey, it's my way or no way or die, by the sword,
That over 5 years, 800 plus businesses consistently lost diversity in their managers, that no improvement in the proportions of white women, blacks, Hispanics, and Asians, and the participants feel external power trying to control their behavior.
So I can only lean on my experience. So I've worked for 13 different companies throughout the course of my career. And what I have seen is that employee engagement increases, employees care about diversity programs, candidates care. I'm coming from a recruiting background. Candidates ask about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it is important to them. There have been studies on Glassdoor that have shown that a good percentage of people will not accept an offer with a company that doesn't have intentional DE&I programs and initiatives.
To use DEI. Yep.
Talk
you
to
see,
me,
that's
Pastor.
the discrimination. That's the discrimination. That's the key word. You don't go by our rules, you're cut out of a job. If you don't believe in, oh my God, there's so many other things, but we're going to get into all this and everything. And people are going to agree or disagree with me. That's all right. There's people that are going to hate some of the stuff that I say, and they're going to like some of it. That's the way life is. People are be for absolute free speech. People aren't. That's the way that is. Oh my God, it's supposed to be about. You look at gaming too, how DEI has transformed that and everything. People just want to have a good game. People, it's about what can you bring to the job. People don't want to know about your politics. This is the thing. When you have a job, and I've had different jobs before, me and my family don't know about, what different companies and stuff like that I've done, all right? And the thing is, they don't want to hear your politics. They don't want to hear about that BS. Keep it out. You don't want to hear about your sexual preferences. That's what home is for. That's, whatever you do at your house, do whatever you want. Don't bring it to the workplace. Some, got friends, you talk stuff, some stuff gets out, what I'm saying? But it's about what you can bring to the workplace. Not your sexuality, has nothing to do with that. Your politics, who gives a bleep? Nobody. Just do your job. Let's get it. It's about teamwork at a job. What do you bring to the team? Teamwork, not division. That's what DI is.
Okay, so
preach on, brother.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, a few things. If DEI works anywhere, it has to work everywhere. Let me tell you where DEI does not work. The NBA and the NFL. Where are the Asian, Latino, and Hispanic basketball and football players? Where are the black guys in the National Hockey League? Those businesses are performance-based. It really comes down to, Dr. Phil, the issue of justice. And if you really want to go deep to the heart of this, and when I say that DEI treats the symptom but not the sickness, America is in a new civil war right now. The first civil war was the North versus the South. The new civil war is a war of ideologies concerning justice. And it's really going to come down to who gets to define what justice is, whether that's biblical justice or social justice. When moral law stands alone and DEI initiatives are based upon that, somebody gets to pretend that they are God.
I want to bring another important voice to this conversation. Eric Smith, he's an associate professor of rhetoric at York College of Pennsylvania and a public policy research scholar. He's joining us virtually. Eric says DEI should be called EMC, Equality, Merit, and Colorblindness. Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I just need to say that the EMC that you mentioned was actually created by Christopher Rufo. He started that going on. And those principles are things that I like, but I would call DEI, contemporary DEI anyway, critical social justice.
You say that we're told demanding merit.
The thing is, me and some other people, there's someone that knows the right way to say the acronym DEI, which is discrimination, inequality, indoctrination, and stuff like that. But I believe the E stands for really something else. But it's supposed to be about merit. It's supposed to be about education. It's not supposed to be about race or color or gender. It's about what you bring, to the workplace and everything like that.
Hurts minorities. Why is that being taught? Why is that being preached?
Well, it's being preached because people think that minorities don't have the same opportunities to acquire the same education as white people. Also, in oversimplification, what we should do then is not get rid of merit. We should help those students acquire those resources.
Okay, now, you got criticized for saying that you thought black students should be taught standard English. Talk about that.
Well, that took place on a listserv in my field of rhetoric and composition, which is better described as woke studies at this point. And I'll be happy to come back on the show and explain that one day.
Okay.
But what I said was, I was pushing back on the idea, the almost universal idea, that teaching standard English to black kids was a form of racism because you're asking them to speak white. I, as a pragmatist, say, well, you're giving them tools so that they can go out into the world and be happy, successful, and fulfilled. They're not replacing however they talk. They're adding standard English to however they talk. But that was not received well.
Why not?
Well,
this also goes with mathematics, where they say, if you say 2 plus 2 is 4, and they say, well, it should be 5. It's like, are you fucking out of your mind? Are you teachers dumb? Yes, you are. Because you don't want to teach proper math. Does that mean you don't know how to teach mathematics? Do you know how to teach your kids? And so they say that that real math is racism. That is racism. You say that black people cannot be as smart as white people? Is that what these teachers are saying? You should be pissed. I'd be pissed. Say, hey, black people can't perform as good as white. That's racist to me. That's very racist to me. Say that that black people can't do as well. It's like they can. It's like they need the tools. They need, that stuff in there. And stuff like that. Better teachers is a part of the problem. If they're dumbing kids down, in whatever school, whether it's white, black, Latino, Asian, if you're dumbing kids down, you're not a teacher. That's abuse. That is abuse to the kids. You're holding their intelligence back, their potential back. And that's never okay. That's abuse. You're abusing your kids in schools, the teacher abuse right there.
Because I was seen as somebody with false consciousness. I was seen as somebody who was a traitor to his race. I was seen as all kinds of things you call people who aren't acting the way they're supposed to be acting. And I need to say this, Dr. Phil, contemporary DEI cannot work without what's called prescriptive racism. And what is that? It's when you have a script, basically, a list of things that a person of a particular race is supposed to abide by, and if he doesn't, he is considered inauthentic or defective. You get this from black people as well as white people, right? In fact, contemporary DEI cannot stand without prescriptive racism. It is prescriptive racism.
Let me ask you, we talk about diversity, Equity and inclusion. What is the definition of equity?
Great question, and I think
It's
we
exclusion.
confuse equity with equality.
It's exclusion.
And equality means that everybody is treated the same. And equity means that we need to look at, for example, there's a great visual of a short person.
Isn't it crazy how a white woman is leading this right here? A white woman. I mean, there's black, there's Latinos as well, but I mean, a lot of this.
Person and a tall person, and they're both looking over a fence, and they have the same block to stand on. And the tall person, of course, can see over the fence, but the short person has not been lifted up enough to see over the fence. And so when we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we're talking about the fact that some demographics come to the table and have to overcome racism, unconscious bias, misogyny.
That comes from everybody, though. And to say that, I mean, and making that argument is pretty stupid. That's just the natural order of life, where some people are shorter, some people are small, some are tall, and stuff like that. You're stupefying people, or not stupefying, but at the end, you're making things, you're just making stupid out of this and everything like that. You're not helping, you're holding people back by saying that, oh, you have to come down from here down to our level. You need to be dumbed down a bit. You need to be dumbed down a bit. And to say that, you know, I know a lot of people, you know, dwarf people, stuff like that. They don't like that. They don't like what she's doing either. Because they're going to tell her, it's like, hey, I'm just as smart as these people. Don't try to dumb us down. They're going to say, what the fuck is your problem? Don't do that to us. Why are they doing that? Why are they trying to make stupid out of us about this and everything? We're supposed to evolve. We're supposed to get smarter. And there's racism with every race. There are black people that hate other black people. I've been around them. There are Latinos that hate other Latinos. There are white people that hate white people. I've been around plenty of white people that are racist. She fits the one where she hates white people.
And so how do we help level the playing field for everyone?
Okay, so that means you're trying to create equality of outcome.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I hear you saying about playing God.
Yeah.
How do you create equality of outcome when people aren't the same? You're right. Some people are shorter. Some people are taller. Looking over that fence, they can't both play in the NBA.
Right.
You can't create equality of outcome. What gives a DEI program the right to come in and try and alter the nature of things to create equality of outcome? That's been tried. That didn't work. That was called Marxism.
What I would say is that, I've been in the recruiting space for 25 years. And the way we have done recruiting traditionally,
they're trying to hide their true colors by saying there's diversity, equity, inclusion. It's really discrimination, exclusion, and indoctrination. Is what it is. They're hiding their true colors. Everybody should have the same rights to get, as long as you have what's upstairs mentally, as long as you have the intelligence to back it up and everything,
relies heavily on things like networks,
or
referral programs. And so who are we going to refer? We're going to refer the people that we know who are in our neighborhoods or who play golf with the CEO. And so you start to have a population in your organization that looks very much the same. And so What I'm advocating for is more intentional programs that reach a broader audience.
All the more reason for merit. If you apply to or stick to meritocracy, it doesn't matter whether somebody is playing golf with the CEO or not. It's about matching those values, those skills that are necessary for the job. Your argument proves that we do need meritocracy.
At the end of the day, you know what this is about? It's about control. It's about power. It's about
a power
control.
grab. Well, we got through D and E. I don't think we...
There was more on this, and this is just part of that. That I was watching, and I just wanted... Is it Thomas Sorrell or Jerry Sorrell? Famous black guy that talks about DEI and how their side really likes to. And me, I'm not on any political side. I know both sides are just corrupt in everything. And I don't want to get too much in just because there's just so much hate with everything, but it's like here, is this it? This has some more. I think I'll go to this officer team. This is the one. And
a few things. If DEI...
The thing is, I don't have all the police officer team has this in. Watch his channel, he's going over this and everything as well. He has his views, I have mine, we all do, about this and everything. So, this is his channel, Officer Tatum, and everything. If you like and everything else. And you comment with all these places I go.
Works anywhere, it has to work everywhere. Let me tell you where DEI does not work. The NBA and the NFL. Where are the Asian, Latino, and Hispanic basketball and football players? Where are the black guys in the National Hockey League? Those businesses are performance-based.
This was amazing. This video is brought to you.
I mean, I know the crazy thing is I know the adult industry and stuff, and some stuff I've been around. It's all about DEI, and that's fine, that's their thing, but, you know, I'm talking about other jobs, I'm talking about other areas of life. For the adult industry that I have, you know, been around a little, so that's a lot different. That's their area. This is the other planet here. This is the other planet.
To by freedomuniversity.com. Freedomuniversity.com is my wife's brand new store. The actual link is shopfreedomuniversity.com. The link is in the description section. Get you one of these hats. I literally wore this hat to the UFC fight, and I've been wearing this hat ever since. I don't wear hats, as y'all know. This hat is comfortable. I love the way it feels.
That's great.
It's discreet. It's for DJT, Donald J. Trump. And it's a good way to support Trump without just being in people's face if you want to, you know, kind of like a subtle view of it. But anyway, go to the store. Link is down there somewhere. Like, subscribe to the channel. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies. This is a long video, but you are going to be entertained at every single minute of this. DEI is insane to me. And I don't understand how people continue to perpetuate the lie that DEI is somehow equality and somehow creates great environments. Research has shown, and everybody and their mama know, you can go look it up if you need verification. Research has shown that the implementation of DEI has not made minority finances better, minorities representation in business any better. At the end of the day, there's more white people in corporate office than there were before DEI. So none of this stuff really matters. None
crazy.
of it really is effective. It's all a virtue signal. And so to see Dr. Phil just literally probably two of the smartest black men I've ever heard on against this woman perpetuating the lie and the myth of DEI being the white savior is hilarious to me. And I'm just going to tell y'all this right off the top before I play the video. I love hearing intelligent black men because I believe almost every time somebody's on television that
because the DEI thing, how they say is that black people ain't smart enough, so we need to lower the bracket. That's bullshit. That pisses me off. I'm not even black. I may have some black in my family way back. My mom said, but she said, let's just keep it tribal. Anyway, man. Anyways, it makes me sick. It pisses me off because they're trying to change math. They're trying to change English and everything else and say that's racism. It pisses me off. That is racism. So much of DEI is racism. You know? So it's like they're saying, no, it's not. And we're excluding, white men in particular, giving everybody else in the woman, and, black and Latino and stuff like this. And it's the very opposite of what it really is, So
happen to be black, they are not putting out our best.
It's just why.
They are pushing people in the forefront who are ignorant, who cannot think for themselves, who play the victim card, who don't speak with the proper English, don't speak proper English, none of that. And so having...
Oh, another thing is this creates racism like where I live. A lot of the black people, they look at me, they got this face on. They give me the space. I go around, take buses, I walk the streets. I should do a lot more. I need to lose more weight, but been sick a lot and everything. And it's like, you see the way that they look at you and how they talk. And I've been attacked, black people attack me and stuff, being white, I'm all white and everything. But it's like, it's crazy what they teach in schools. They create racism. They create division with DI and say, oh, white people have done you wrong. It's like, that was a long time ago. That's a long time ago. And it wasn't all of us that wanted it that way either. It wasn't. We fought a civil war to end slavery. We fought a civil war. Our own brothers, our own sisters, killed our own brothers and sisters to end slavery. We ended it. That's the thing.
Some intelligent men just destroy this woman on DEI is incredible to watch. Roll the clip.
When you say diversity, what do you mean?
For me personally, and I think for the industry in corporate, we are looking at it broadly. We're looking at diversity as bringing in different backgrounds, whether that is industry experience, race, gender, sexual orientation.
Well, now, wait a minute. When you're doing diversity training,
there's to be some people talking about what the white man did to. It's not Native Americans, they're tribal, all right? We're tribal, all right? Because we're not Native American, we're tribal. We come from different tribes and stuff. So even what you're taught in colleges and universities is total BS. Different tribes were already killing each other. It's like you got the Bloods and the Crips, even today, with different tribal nations. You go on their side, they're going to take a gun to you, almost, some of them. They're going to tell you, get the fuck off our territory, you can't be here. They will do that. People have no idea. Before the white man, they was killing each other as well for food, resources, and other things. There's a lot of stuff I know about history that is not taught in colleges because they want to blame everything on the white man. There's a lot of blame. There is. There's massacres that took place. There's a lot of hate that I hate about it. That been tribal in me. But we need to move on. We need to move on away from that, from this stuff, because all that they want to do in these schools is create more racism and more hate. That's what they want to do. And that was then, this is now.
Training, you're not talking about industry experience. You're talking about racial diversity. You're talking about gender.
We're talking about all of the above. I think good diversity programs are really about broadening perspectives within an organization. And I've certainly worked for organizations where, we only want people from a specific background. And that can be very limiting and impact what your organization looks like in terms of race and gender.
Okay, well, you just said what it looks like. And that's what one of the big criticisms is that it's what it looks like, that there's diversity of bodies, that you've got a certain number of one from a certain race, another race, another race. Has nothing to do with diversity of ideology, has nothing to do with diversity of background. It has to do with quotas.
Right.
True?
No.
Y'all know I got to stop every now and again because they're going to copyright me. But she just said, this is the conundrum that they fall into. They know for a fact they're just doing it based on color of skin, right? We need 15 blacks. We need 14 Hispanics. We need 35 women. And we don't care if we lose every white person that work in this company. Diversity is really the elimination of white people. But she said what it looks like. And then now she's been called on the carpet on it, and she has to create the impossible to try to verify or to try to validate her DEI approach. Roll the clip.
I've never worked in an organization where we've had quotas.
I've employed as many as 1,000 people, most of them union, in the entertainment industry, and I'll damn sure tell you that there is a body count going on. Does DEI work?
Yes. I have seen tremendous success in...
Are you aware there are 100 studies that suggest that it doesn't work?
There are also studies show that it does work. If you look at the Harvard Business Review, Deloitte...
Well, let's look at the Harvard Business Review, because they actually did a study. The study found that...
I would not want to be on the wrong side of Dr. Phil on this. They already got all the research done. She brought up a Harvard study because she's regurgitating talking points. So he brings up the Harvard study. And this is what it says.
Over 5 years, 800 plus businesses consistently lost diversity in their managers, that no improvement in the proportions of white women, blacks, Hispanics, and Asians, and the participants feel external power trying to control their behavior.
So I can only lean on my experience. So I've worked for 13 different companies throughout the course of my career.
It affected them
what
all.
I have seen is that employee engagement increases, employees care about diversity programs, candidates care. I'm coming from a recruiting background. Candidates ask about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it is important to them. There have been studies on Glassdoor that have shown that a good percentage of people will not accept an offer with a company that doesn't have intentional DE&I programs and initiatives.
And exclusion. That's discrimination and exclusion right there.
They got that smoker going. Just like Nick Neal with that brisket. They got that smoker going. He getting ready to cook. Listen to this dude. And this brother who's a pastor is going to not only destroy her. The other guy they have on a Zoom call nobody could say it better at explaining how wrong this is.
Get that beat, put it on barbecue,
that's honest about it. Roll the clip.
You pastor.
Okay, so
preach on, brother.
Yeah. Well, a few things. If DEI works anywhere, it has to work everywhere. Let me tell you where DEI does not work: the NBA and the NFL. Where are the Asian, Latino,
racist,
Hispanic,
racist
basketball and football players? Where are the black guys in the National Hockey League? Those businesses are performance based. It really comes down to, Dr. Phil, the issue of justice. And if you really want to go deep to the heart of this, and when I say that DEI treats the symptom but not the sickness, America is in a new civil war right now. The first civil war was the North versus the South. The new civil war is a war of ideologies concerning justice. And it's really going to come down to who gets to define what justice is, whether that's biblical justice or social justice. When moral law stands alone and DEI initiatives are based upon that, somebody gets to pretend that they are God.
I want to bring another important voice to this conversation. Eric Smith, he's an associate professor of rhetoric at York College of Pennsylvania and a public policy research scholar. He's joining us virtually. Eric says DEI should be called EMC, Equality, Merit, and Colorblindness. Eric, thank you so much for
college and fail out. I said,
as white people. Also, I just need to say that the EMC that you mentioned was actually created by Christopher Rufo. He started that going on. And those principles are things that I like, but I would call DEI, contemporary DEI anyway, critical social justice.
You say that we're told demanding merit hurts minorities. Why is that being taught? Why is that being preached?
Well, it's being preached because people think that minorities don't have the same opportunities to acquire the same education as white people. Also, in oversimplification, what we should do then is not get rid of merit. We should help those students acquire those resources.
Okay, now, you got...
Hold on, I've been saying this for 5 years now. It's very simple. Instead of saying, hey, you know what? Because black kids don't have adequate education, let's lower the standard so that they can get to college and fail out. I said, why can't we help them get a better education? Let's help them be competitive in the marketplace. Let's help them get the education and knowledge and safety and skills that they need to compete on a merit-based system.
A lot of it, they come from the ghettos, they come from the streets. It's about their environment where they don't have proper parenting, some don't have parents. I know this from jail, where plenty of black guys I was with, they had no mother, no father. They never had a mother or father. Their only family was the gang members, their gangs that they were with. That was the only family. So obviously, because of their upbringing, they don't know better either. They just don't. And so it's like you have to find a way to get into the community, like with teachers and other make organizations, that will give them the tools to stay out of gangs, go to school, get educated, go to college. That gang life is thug life and everything. It's a dead end. Your only livelihood is just jail and prison. And that's it. You have to, it's always indoctrinate them with that. Teach them. You know, that's the wrong way of life. Drugs, alcohol, and all that other stuff. Thug life is a nowhere life and everything.
I've been saying this forever. Anyway.
Criticized for saying that you thought black students should be taught standard English. Talk about that.
Well, that took place on a listserv in my field of rhetoric and composition, which is better described as woke studies at this point, and I'll be happy to come back on the show and explain that one day.
Okay.
But what I said was, I was pushing back on the idea, the almost universal idea, that teaching standard English to black kids was a form of racism, because you're asking them to speak.
Or like we already went over with him and everything. It's like, if black people are against it, they call them racist. They call them racist. And that's such bullshit. You're calling a black person, you know, straight preaching truth, a racist. Come on. That's just stupid.
White. I, as a pragmatist, say, well, you're giving them tools so that they can go out into the world and be happy, successful, and fulfilled. They're not replacing it however they talk. They're adding standard English to however they talk. But that was not received well.
Why not?
Well, because I was seen as somebody with false consciousness. I was seen as somebody who was a traitor to his race. I was seen as all kinds of things you call people who aren't acting the way they're supposed to be acting. And I need to say this, Dr. Phil, contemporary DEI cannot work without what's called prescriptive racism.
I want y'all to listen to what he's finna say. This was probably the most intelligent thing I've ever heard anybody say. Anybody of any race, anytime. Prescriptive racism. I never thought of this. I never heard of it, but this is the exact explanation of why this stuff is so loony. Keep in mind what he said. And keep this term, prescriptive racism. Roll the clip.
And what is that? It's when you have a script, basically, a list of things that a person of a particular race is supposed to abide by, and if he doesn't, he is considered inauthentic or defective. You get this from black people as well as white people, right? In fact, contemporary DEI cannot stand without prescriptive racism. It is prescriptive racism.
Let me ask you, we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is the definition of equity?
Facial gestures, because she just sees it all as a fucking joke and everything. This is the thing with, so with these political analysts on both sides, whether it's Fox or CNN, they laugh about it, and to them, it's all a joke. When it's like, for people like me, you just want to boom, boom, boom at them. Because it affects us, it hurts us. For us, we have to live in a nightmare of the idiocy of these political groups and how we suffer from them and the damage that they've done to us. That's what we feel like doing. Instead, they see it as a joke and stuff like that. Hold on, I need to take a leak. I should just about move on. Right here.
Great question, and I think we confuse equity with equality. And equality means that everybody is treated the same. And equity means that we need to look at, for example, there's a great visual of a short person and a tall person, and they're both looking over a fence, and they...
I invite people that have been over there. I just want to move on here. Let us see here. This one. Here it is, right here.
CNN, I know.
Yeah,
investigates
CNN.
the rise of extremism and nobody else is a supporter of Luigi. Lying to people. I love misleading them. I love tricking them. This is something I used to do all years. Unbelievable.
I want to go into stuff that I got an issue with him, because I do have plenty of issues with him. And stuff like that. Why am I talking about him? Because he has a powerful mouth of millions of people. A big mouth. He can talk to millions of people. With that, millions of people, he has great power. That's why I'm using him. So.
Okay, so stop talking to me.
My fans would love it if it's not too out, but I can't do it.
So you could make the gun.
And then you have the implication, in order to create the parity of violence between a person who's willfully engaging in physical combat in a safe space in a ring with somebody else who's consented. And this is, I'm sure, going to be juxtaposed next to like people destroying Teslas and destroying property in order to show that, wow, look at this dangerous right-wing person. Like, cause I have to watch more of these, because somebody needs to get the information out there with how absolutely fucking deceptive this is. I love lying to people. I love misleading them. I love tricking them. This is something I used to do all the time. And I would do this so much. And so I see this happen and I'm like, oh, I know what you're doing here. I know what you're doing here. I see where this is going. Yes, and wow, I did this all the time. Yes, and so that's the thing. You still do. I never lie anymore. I never lie. No, of course not. And so I can recognize a lot of this, and I think a lot of other people don't.
So you could make the gun and the suppressor in a day.
3, 2, 1.
That's true.
I just don't like to told you're not allowed to talk to this person. Like, why can't I talk to him?
There's a growing number of folks that want maximum punishment. Maximum punishment.
I think most people feel...
Well, yeah. And I love how also there's like a juxtaposition of like Luigi, as if he's even talking about Luigi. It's probably not even about him.
Like violence is justified in certain instances. They're dangerous individuals. Back up.
The only people that are supporters of Luigi are mentally ill women who are attracted to him.
Not true, not true. Listen, the thing is, he has no idea what it's like to go through pain and suffering. And there is a universal pain management around where I live. I know the shit they've done in this piece of shit CEO and these corporates have done. Death and murder by denying health care coverage. Now, Luigi Mangione, he's a hypocrite. A lot of it. He had all the money in the world. Yet he shoot to kill. He had it coming. He had it coming. It's called karma. And now the House and the Senate, they didn't do anything against this guy. They knew the CEO that got killed. He was a dirty rat. He was causing death. With law enforcement and the Senate, the House. The powerful don't take care of the powerful for injustice, to bring about justice to the death and murder that these people have incurred on others. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Somebody's going to step up, the karma's going to be done. It's going to happen. And for you to say that, I mean, obviously he hasn't been through all that. He's had some problems, nothing like me and others with health problems and pain and suffering. But I know what it's like to always have IVs, have stuff hooked to you, hooked up to your body near death, and now death. He doesn't know any of that. At least not on the same scale. He doesn't know what it's like to have cancer, all these diseases and other stuff. He has all this money. This is a content creator. He's in a different world than the rest of us, poor people are, that don't have, what he has, And so, I mean, you do something called karma, but if what goes around comes around. He got what happened to him, to that CEO. And sometimes I feel like helping Luigi in some ways, but he's a hypocrite. But you know what? I mean, it's like the death penalty. The reason why he got the death penalty is because they want to make an example out of him. Do I care about what happened to CEO? I don't give a shit about it. Yeah, what was coming, I'm saying.
Nobody else is a supporter of Luigi.
I kind of do.
America's founded on violence.
We have to fight back.
They want somebody to take
There's
on
a lot of people that do. There's a lot of people that do.
Misinfo Nation.
I'm not saying people should go out and do it. I just say, what goes around comes around. You treat a person, you cause death and murder, and when law enforcement won't, do the right thing, or the House, the politicians ignore it because they got money to get away with murder, stuff like that's going to happen.
Stream America. Misinfo Nation. This is made by CNN. I can't wait to watch this. The whole story. I'm sure we're going to get the whole story. Is an extra to the docket. Ooh.
The January 6th.
Of course. Of course. Back to the original sin. Yep, there we go. Something new and different.
Insurrectionists betrayed our country. Traitors!
The thing is, I probably should be doing this somewhere like on Rumble, but I don't like the user interface on Rumble. And that's usually for right-wing people. I'm not right-wing, I'm not lefty. It's just, I know human suffering. I know injustice. And it's like, if I have to, if it gets cut, then, I should be doing this on different platforms. I probably should. I'm not extreme in what I say. People may think that. I believe in justice when there isn't any. Politicians do this to themselves. The rich and the powerful does this to themselves. So if something happens to them, I ain't gonna really care. I'm not. Because they're sick psychopaths. He doesn't know all the illegal stuff that I do, all the criminal stuff that politicians and these other people do. Or it doesn't affect him the same way that affects me. And I see people suffer all the time by piece of shit politicians and the rich and the powerful that take from the rich and the poor. and people suffer on the streets. I see it all the time. And that affects me. Because I can feel people's pain. I can feel people suffering. I go through my own pain and suffering as well. Oh my God! No, hell no, I'm muting the bitch. Oh,
Asking impeachment hopes, 2020 election.
People losing their fucking
minds.
minds.
This is your enemy list.
This is the deep state target
But
list.
this is a
Just
part of the
portion of it.
extremism that I hate. Both sides, and politicians are religious groups are totally to blame for this infection, this counter that they've created, a weaponization of both sides of how it's an ideological civil war. This stuff. It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. But
some of the high value targets, if you will.
What is this here? Biden laptop, January 6th, 2020 election, retribution tour. Oh, Mike Pence is on the list.
Mike Pence. You can't leave him out.
Who's target number one?
I'd probably say Nancy Pelosi.
Right.
Yep.
Ivan Raiklin is a far-right extremist.
Of course.
They're far right, they're far left, they're extremists on both. Both sides are just trash people. I just don't have any respect for them. Because they don't have IQ to know when they're being used, when they're being manipulated. It's a brainwashing. And you're the fool. You're the fool. You're the joke. You're a part of the joke. Because they brainwashed you. To them, a lot of this is a joke, and they don't care about you. Politicians don't care about you. They don't. They don't. They put on an act, but they don't. It's just like Hollywood. The stage is a show. Stage is a show. It's a stage, and they put on a show. And that's what they do.
Just hit the deep state right in the heart.
So who do you think was ultimately responsible for the attack on the Capitol?
So I would say probably me. I'm the one.
President Trump retweeted a memo from an individual named Ivan Wright.
Oh my God. It's all going back to January 6th. Am I the only person that, like, can't we move past this?
No.
Everybody
they won't
knows
let it.
January
They
6th
can
was
let it.
bad. Anybody who thinks January 6th wasn't bad is just, they've been completely consumed by propaganda, right? They've totally left reality. You shouldn't be taking them seriously at all. What is this? Yeah, it's insane. I'm tired, bro. Yes, it's like the same thing every single time. 4 years ago. Holy fuck, man. Republicans fully support January 6th? No, they don't. How many of you guys voted for Trump and you thought January 6th was stupid? Yeah, this is total false narrative. Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? It's their 9/11?
It is. Yeah, it is. It is.
Entitled Operation Pence Card that called on the vice president to refuse the electoral college votes from certain states that had certified that called on the vice.
What's wrong with this person saying this? There's nothing wrong with him saying this. This is just some schizo on Twitter that wants the election to get overturned. Are we really going to act like this is some kind of like grand threat? It's just some schizo on Twitter.
I mean, he has his views about I got mine and everything, but
Vice President to refuse the Electoral College votes from certain states that had certified Joe Biden as the winner.
So my legal strategy forced Nancy Pelosi to conduct the deliberate breach and facilitate the deliberate incited entrapment of January 6th. That is why I'm
I
responsible.
mean, look, Nancy Pelosi is a big actor. She comes from a mafia, type family. Her father was in the mob, and she has some of that mafia in her from her father that was a part of the mob. There's lots of people don't know about Nancy Pelosi, where she has that gangster type mafia type of the way she talks, her mannerisms and stuff like that. But again, I'm not on the political side, but I am judging her on a lot of stuff, how she created a division as well. Both parties are to blame for. There's plenty of blame to go on her.
Exposing.
She wanted it to happen. She wanted, because it plays into her hand, plays into her agenda, and everything else.
The Nancy Pelosi Fed insurrection of January 6th.
He promotes the conspiracy theory that January 6th was a setup.
Some people call it a entrapment.
Well, isn't it defined that they intentionally didn't have extra people there, even though they wanted to have extra people there?
Yeah.
And isn't it also defined that there were federal agents in the crowd?
Yes.
Like, I thought both of these things were like...
Yeah, this stuff's been proven on security camera. And she did stage a lot of it. Nancy Pelosi did.
Agreed upon facts. And also, that doesn't make January 6th okay. That's the problem, is like, and this is the issue, is that like, people like this can never have an honest conversation because they're too focused on scoring points for their side and not in engaging in a degree of like rational discourse.
That's the thing, they don't want to. It's like, oh my God. They don't, because it's so weaponized. It's like both sides just want to commit. Both sides are weaponized against each other. This is a problem. They just kill each other off. That's pretty much.
Like, for example, just because there aren't a lot of police there doesn't mean that it's okay to break into the building. Just because there's a federal agent in the crowd doesn't mean that it's not your fault when you decide to break a window because the federal agent tells you to. But these things are like, why can't people just look at reality?
They refuse to. The politicians, like I said, are the problem. They're creating the hate, the weaponization, the brainwashing. I've been saying this a long time. Politicians are a problem. Both sides. Creating the hate. Of just like going after just killing each other off. Say commit all this violence. You should see that. You don't. Most people don't. They see that only their side is in the right, and that they got a right to hate the other side. But what they don't see is that they're a part of the joke. They are the joke. The joke's on you. You played into our hands, and our putty, your putty. Like you're putty in our hands. That's the thing.
I don't understand this. I don't get it at all.
a Fedsurrection, a parliamentary coup.
Your shirt. It has a list of names of the Retribution tour.
And he's got a retribution list.
The Biden laptop cover-up, the COVID-19 pandemic.
For those he believes have wronged President Trump and the American people.
Of course.
Jim Clapper, right? Mike Hayden, Brian Kemp, Brad Raffensperger. The list goes on and on.
I prefer the term retribution. Liz Cheney, we're coming for you. Adam Kinzinger, we're coming for you.
You mentioned Pelosi.
I love how like they create this parody between like this guy and like, for example, the people that are burning down Teslas, because like this guy is just swimming and like running around and talking, and then like the people that are at like, there's never been a single clip of him being violent, destroying anything, breaking the law, or even being physically aggressive towards anyone. It's just simply him talking and saying, in my opinion, kind of crazy stuff for sure. But, you know, he's not really doing anything wrong. But because you're playing this, like, scary music behind it.
I mean, this is what they do. I talk a lot of shit. But saying, talking shit, and actually going and hurting somebody is a fucking lot different. I don't care if a person says, oh, I want to bleep this, I want to bleep that person, I want to bleep that person. A lot of people vent. Where I come from, that's venting. Saying and doing it is a lot different. Sure, there are a lot more crazies today. Yeah, except that I can say crazy stuff as well. I do sometimes. But that's venting. Venting and doing it, going out and hurting someone is a lot different. That's a lot different. And stuff. And one side seems to be actually going out and doing it versus just saying stuff. But
this is supposed to be comparable to people that are, supporting a murderer with Luigi, which is, again, I think kind of just like a schizo movement. It's not really worth taking seriously. But the people that are destroying Teslas,
it's not a schizo movement. You're pretty dumbass to say that. Pretty stupid. It's like I said, that's what goes around comes around. There's nothing schizo about it. Nothing schizo about it. When you commit death and murder to people, he's charged of universal pain management. He denied health care to those suffering and dying. What you don't understand, you're not educated, you know about that. You have been through stuff. I saw people from UPM here get denied treatment by these sons of bitches. Do I care what happened to SEO? No, I don't give a shit about it. I don't give a shit about it. He's a piece of shit. Now, Luigi is also two-faced. He went somehow, he has all the money in the world. That's the thing. If it would have been somebody that didn't have money, it's like there'd be a lot more sympathy as well. But it's like,
I think is very legitimate. I think it's
things who abuse people, we should expect things to happen. It's called karma. It's a life thing.
It's very problematic. Is he wrong though? I mean, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with what he's saying. Sure, he can say whatever he wants. I don't agree with all of it, but I mean, he can say whatever he thinks.
I don't agree with the extremism of either side. Because there's so much inhumanity in it. Right? And it's killing the country and stuff like that. Got polarizing. You got all these different sides having a camera. In a lot of ways, society would be so much better without technology. I think it brings sanity if we didn't have all this technology. Because we have to go out and have to try and get along with people. Instead, we're all trying to record each other. Look at this. This is a crazy person. Look at this. She's hurting me. She's trying to hurt me.
Scenario.
I mean, simple statute. This is treason. Yeah, absolutely. And I would like to see at the end of the due process, lawful capital punishment.
Will you be disappointed if in 12 months from now somebody hasn't been executed for treason?
I think the nation will be furious.
He says even I could be a target.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big fucking difference. Like this is, and this is again, this is the false equivalency that these people create, is that this person is advocating for an extreme judicial process, whereas other people are advocating for vigilante justice and terrorism. That's a very big difference. He's saying that he wants people that he thinks committed treason to be tried for treason. Other people just want to kill you. That's the difference. It's a big fucking, massive fucking difference.
I'm not sure yet if you are or are not on the deep state target list because I haven't consumed all of the information.
Honestly, I get both sides of the hate. I get the vigilantism. I get the hate of just going out and bleeping others, stuff like that. But I also hate a lot of the craziness. Both sides. How both sides are pretty much the politicians that are causing this. And it's like, you want them to just off each other because they're making things worse. They're not saying, hey, we should try and come to a mutual understanding. We should try to get along as much as we can. Instead, they're laying fault at either side, weaponizing everybody. Say we should riot, say we should commit death to the other side. And then, if you really look, you see both sides just, there's fucking insanity. And the politicians are just getting off on it. What are they doing for us? I mean, you know, you see, like, there's stuff that I like and dislike about Trump, right? Illegal stuff, you know, tariffs and all this other stuff. It's like immigration, and there's stuff I hate him on, and I think this is with any other person in life that there's stuff that we agree disagree on. But
that you've put forth to determine what your status should be.
But we've been hanging out
as we ruin you.
Yeah.
As you what?
Just like you ruined us. An eye for an eye. Look up Leviticus as a Christian man.
We have a problem with Jewish supremacy. We have a problem.
This day where you have people that go to church, and I'm so glad I'm out of stupid church stuff. Most is two-faced and brainwashing and abuse that I went through. And people go to church and they don't learn from church. As soon as they get out of church, you know, about being Christian or whatever, they go out and they talk about kicking somebody's ass, you know, shooting somebody or whatever. Oh, that person deserves an ass kicking. That person deserves this, deserves that. I hear them talking from the church. I'm out in the streets and I hear it. I hear him talk. It's like total hypocrisy. It's like, why don't you just quit going to church and just be you instead of putting on an act? You know what I'm saying? It's like...
Problem with a Jew.
Oh, here we go. Here is again... It's again the implications, right? All of the implications, as in... And by the way, a lot of people hate CNN. Like, a tremendous amount of people hate CNN. And it's like, now you have a guy, let's take a look. How many people are watching this? Like,
Again, you know, I talked about mainstream news and how it's all bought and paid for by political, sociological interest organizations, government NGOs, non-government organizations. This rings true with Fox and any others, you know, MSNBC, CBS, ABC. It's all the same BS. And sick and disgusting. Never believe anything they tell you unless it's weather related. That's pretty much the only thing you can trust. If that, sometimes, huh?
well, I can't even really tell because it's like super low quality. It says restreaming now, maybe 17K people have watched this. Oh my God.
Jewish occupation in our government.
Technology has transformed extremism in America.
It's your body, my choice.
A fire hose of hate.
What the fuck?
Is served to millions of us every day.
Yeah.
They are reviewing a purported manifesto.
Mass shooters publish manifestos online.
An absolute racist hate crime.
This is God's country!
Election deniers stream.
Again, it's January 6th again. And you'll notice this, that every single clip of like this right-wing violence, every single one of them is going to go right back to January 6th. And the big reason why is because when like one of these like mass shooters goes out and they like kill a bunch of people and it's turned out that they're a Nazi, nobody that's like conservative or right wing goes and makes excuses for them and says, well, you know, you have to look at like what his, you know, socioeconomic status was. Well, you have to see, you know, he was treated this way in school. They're like making excuses. Yeah, they do. Well, I mean, of course, there's a handful of people that do. Of course, you're right about that. But those people are radical extremists and they don't represent.
This is why some veterans from World War II are, the few that are still alive, the city this country's gone to shit. Because it has both sides. And they're right. And that it wasn't worth fighting for. Me, I also went to the military, but there's secrets that I would not keep. There's corruption in the military I did not like. And stuff. It's good. There are good things to go to the military for. Get your college, housing, education, that stuff, right? There's a lot of stuff I didn't like and I couldn't. But these guys are right that, you know, Korea, Vietnam, it's like, this is what it's become. It's fucking ridiculous. The inhumanity.
Than anybody else, and they are the very fringe minority, and most everybody else pushes away from them. That's the difference.
Live as they attack the U.S. Capitol.
The problem isn't, and this might sound odd, is that the problem isn't the violence itself. It's the culture that enables and justifies it that's really the problem. Because, like, I look at it as, like, you know, it's the difference between, are you against the cookie or the cookie factory? Well, if you want to get rid of cookies, you don't get mad at cookies, you get mad at the factory that's making the cookies, right?
I mean, is it the muffin man that you hate for not making the perfect muffin? Or is it that fact that the muffin didn't taste as good, or you blame the muffin? What do you go after, the muffin man or the muffin? You want your money back for the muffin. You go after the pizza or the pizzeria. You go after the crust or you go after the cheese.
It's the factory that's doing this. And so the culture that enables this and justifies it and tries to run defense for it, they're the ones that are really wrong.
The politicians have created this division, this hate, this weaponization. And look, there's the people that suffer. All these piece of shit politicians, they're all having an okay time. They're to make news, they're to complain, both sides. They have a place to go to warm up. They got a fireplace, you know, they got a home and everything. They're telling the people to attack each other. Go after the Capitol. Why aren't the politicians doing this themselves? Have you asked that question? Why don't they do it themselves? Why don't they do something? They're supposed to represent the people. Why are they telling the people to do this? It is the people on either side that are to be put in jail or prison. Do you see what's going on here? We're nothing but cattle to the politicians. We're like brainwashed cattle led to the slaughter.
Trump seems to enable this, though. I don't know. I've never seen Trump say that it's okay to be violent towards, like,
he did
somebody, and Trump is like multiple times, like he said, like, what are you talking about? When has he said that? Trump denounced it immediately. Yeah, he said to stop and to go home immediately on that day.
The fringe is going mainstream.
And Trump is here to take down those satanic cabals, pedophiles. You know this already.
With the cute military army. Save the children!
Some believe we are on the brink of a totalitarian state.
Who actually runs the government?
Some believe our government is totally controlled by corporations or a cabal.
Yeah. And intelligence.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, non-government organizations, you got intelligence. You have, you know, secret societies from the FBI, the Central Intelligence Agency, National Security Council. They're running the country as well. They could get rid of any president. They could get rid of any elected official. They also have a hand in choosing the narrative of what stories are being run on the news that we watch.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that believe that.
That's a fact.
That's true.
It's not belief, it's fact.
And some see themselves as crusaders in a fight for good versus evil.
Let's be the American people spreading the word of God.
So I've set out on a journey across the country to meet the Americans waging this battle.
This is basically the Mangione gun.
To find out if we really are getting more extreme.
I've had enough. Both sides are a problem. I've had enough of that part. I said my piece. But now I can get to the UFO stuff. Let's get to actually tariff stuff. I want to get to this. I've had enough of that.
They brought Baldy on again today to, I guess today is going to be when he goes to 4,000%. He said 1,000%. He said 400%. So now it should probably just be 4,000%.
Joining me now, the man himself,
yeah.
O'Leary Ventures Chairman Kevin O'Leary. Kevin, you reminded me with that comment, smash heads into the wall. You reminded me of what Xi Jinping said, okay? When he was celebrating the 100-year anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party, he said, anybody who gets in the way of China's reunification with Taiwan is going to get their head smashed to dust. Yep. Remember he said that? Is that where you got that?
It was ringing in my mind, Maria, the rhetoric and I thought it would be a good comeback. But, at this point, we got to face reality here. China is not just a trade war. We have to figure out a way to finally fix the problems that have existed since 2000 when they joined the WTO. They've never abided.
See, this is what he's saying, right? This is what a lot of people are saying. Is like this didn't start happening like last week, right? It's been going on for a while.
By the rules and regulations ever. There's no mechanism by which you can dispute any kind of business issue, including IP theft. And it's a typical situation. I'll make it very simple for everybody to understand. You invest in innovation in the United States, and the product takes off, and as soon as it hits a run rate of 5 million annually, it gets knocked off in China.
China has the biggest piracy rate in the whole world. No other country has the biggest piracy than China. China #1. Don't forget, China is still #1 in something. If we need something bootlegged, we need China. If we don't want to pay for something, we need... Is this on right now? No. Let's move on.
Manufactured.
That seems like, it seems like an exploit, right? Like, what the fuck?
They're reintroduced into the U.S. market at around 30 to 40% off because they don't have to recuperate any R&D, and sometimes the original innovating company goes bankrupt. I've kind of had enough of that now. I've been watching it. I've never been able to litigate there, and I can't even get access to their financial markets or even sell products there sometimes without having a partner that's 51%.
Yeah, and what he means.
And I get it, because I remember decades ago, I did business overseas, Japan, China, Taiwan. I did business with them in parts of Asia, and there you have to be Chinese, or half of it has to be Chinese owned, which I actually understand. If it's the other way around, if you want to litigate business in America, you think that Americans should come first, right? Or that all of our stuff should be at least half American owned. There's definitely different sides to how, you see how Trump wanted more stuff made in America. Because when we rely too much on another country, they think they take too much of our industry, which they have. But the reason for imports is so people in other countries don't have to be poor, right? So you give out some of our stuff to let them manufacture and let them sell it to us. So that way the poor people in these other countries, like China or Africa, they make some money. You don't have, famine, as much famine and everything. But there's good and bad to that. So, and I think America should have the same kind of thinking like China has, to be honest.
By that is that in order to do business in China, you have to have a partner that is a company that is a Chinese company.
I want you to be aware of something, Maria, that I think
it's a
people
scam.
missed
It's a scam.
yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's 100% scam.
Atkins was
Absolutely.
approved. His nomination went through for head of the SEC. Then Senator Scott issued a letter, made it public yesterday, that he had asked this person to enforce the law about delisting Chinese companies that were not compliant with GAAP. They were given 3 years, then the law was modified to give them 2 years. None of them were compliant. There's billions of dollars trading this morning.
So this is a huge factor, right? Because GAAP is how people decide the value of a company and what a company's financials are. Because it's literally the way that you do accounting. That's massive.
That I think Chinese companies that are not compliant, they're going to get delisted. I think this new sheriff at the SEC isn't going to mess around. And I think this is important to continue the pressure on China to come to the table.
Yeah, it's a great point.
That obviously didn't happen. And you talk about, China and, let's see here. I'll just throw this out. Get the clutter out. Get all this clutter out.
Last month, I took an order for a batch of copper parts. I've already bought all the materials. It cost tens of thousands, and everything has been cut, ground, washed, and engraved.
Yeah, they sitting on all this stuff.
It's not finished yet, but today the customer messaged me and said the delivery might be delayed. After customs clearance, the taxes have gone up too much. A
That's
TikToker who works as a bulk trade supplier shared in his video the huge pressure he's under after the sudden increase in U.S. tariffs.
Yeah, see, they're stuck with all this shit, and there's no way that they're going to be able to sell it to somebody else as fast as they were selling it to the U.S. This really sucks for a lot of business owners over there.
Our orders are worth over $50 million US. This year, we're already booked through May 2026.
See, this is the reality. There are not that many economies in the world that can support buying this many bullshit boxes of shoes.
America can.
There are some, but not that many.
Japan, there's a list of things Japan and some other countries can have with different things, but America is the sole place where we buy all these other niches of different products. We are the sole superpower, the sole house, the sole warehouse of all warehouses, where other countries can make money off of all these things here. No other country. Now, there are, like I said, Japan, there are some niches, where they'll buy a lot of different things as well. It's just why we've had great trade. Of course, there's problem trade with them as well, but
2026. But with this 30% tariff hike, the impact on us is huge.
Yeah, it's massive.
If you're a small startup, it's not such a big deal because you don't ship enough to fill an entire container. But for us, it hits hard. Our profit margins in bulk trading are already razor thin. Now with a 34% tariff, it's like getting knocked to the ground.
No, you're fucked.
He said the only thing he can do for now is wait. His backup plan is to ship through third-party warehouses in other countries. That's the only way forward.
So people go through these whole videos of how the Chinese depend on us for their living and stuff. Let's see here.
Keep knickknacks and doodads, but they didn't realize that in doing so, they would hurt their long-term job prospects, and I think that's what's happened.
If you look at in China, they have no safety standards I should go back because I do remember. There's good reason. There's a lot of stuff I want to go over here.
Crazy. I maybe a month. I would be shocked if this went on for more than a month. I would, because like again, I mean the Chinese government, I mean like they're totalitarian and very powerful, but at the end of the day, if you completely lose the people and everybody there hates you, this is not good for them. They don't want that to happen. Even if they think that they can control it, they do not want that to happen.
Well, that is what we bet that obviously Trump did. But the thing is, the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party, let over 10 million of their own people die from famine, starvation, and poor. Why? Because they don't care about their own people in certain areas. They'll only care about the people that are loyal to the party. And so they've let millions upon millions die in the past. You know, as they see as a means to an end to acquire power and stuff like that. They don't listen. They got military. They have all these cameras all over the place. Why did the U.S. become a surveillance state? They got that from China to control the people and go after any type of resistance or protest. So they don't care as much. What they do care about is what's going to happen when all the people that could lose jobs cannot pay their bills anymore. I mean, if there's a revolt, they got the military. They'll use it again. They'll throw away into prison. They're nothing but fodder. But
she also said that starting this month, all manufacturing businesses in China will face an unprecedented winter. More and more companies will go bankrupt, lay off workers, and downsize. Many manufacturing owners will end up with insufficient funds and will not survive. Cases in banks, law firms, and courts will pile up. The TikToker estimates that all manufacturing business owners are currently in an anxious, confused, and helpless state.
There's a lot of other, I mean, and also keep in mind that like what she's saying about this in China, there are people in the United States that feel the same way because part of their supply chain comes from China. So it's like, this isn't something that's like, you know, like one-dimensionally affecting people over there. It affects us over here too.
Yeah, it does.
Particularly for factories that relied on foreign trade orders, the shrinking foreign demand and declining domestic demand are making it difficult. Many small business owners can't sleep because of worries and fear. They're afraid all the years of hard work will go to waste. They fear they won't be able to pay employee wages or cover rent and utilities. The TikToker revealed that with electricity costs for her equipment already reaching her limit.
Keep in mind, in China, you have no worker rights. You don't. There's real sweatshops in China and these other countries, and they don't have real safety standards, none compared to the United States or even some of Europe, you know, or UK or whatever. They don't have any of that. So what they have to deal with is a lot more dangerous and everything. It's totally a lot different. They don't get any of the wages that Americans do. Of course, some companies here hired illegals so they didn't have to pay more. They got rid of citizens in favor of lower paying illegals.
Limit, she has decided to sell her 30,000 watt laser equipment. On April 8th, a TikToker from Zhejiang shared a video saying that she suddenly realized the U.S. tariff increase has also severely impacted non-exporting manufacturers.
No, because you get different stuff from different countries, right? So, like, even if you're not exporting the final product, it doesn't mean you're not importing or exporting some piece of the process of the product. That's the thing.
这个关税加上去之后 How big of an impact has the tariff increase had on local factories in Zhejiang? I run a small factory and don't deal with foreign trade, so I'm not sure how much it would affect me. But I've noticed that my upstream suppliers who export raw materials haven't received any orders for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. There's like a whole supply chain of this.
Not even one container has shipped out. When they can't get orders, they try to switch to domestic sales. Now people at their factories are still working on.
One thing is, there's a lot of clothing that we get from China that we can't get from anywhere else. A lot of clothing, the silk. I mean, thousands of years we've had the Silk Road. So our ancestors come from that Silk Road, Europeans, the Asians, Chinese. Silk Road is from the silk trade. There's certain things that people get from China that you can't get from anywhere else. Now, America and Europe can make certain kinds of silk, but China has most of the silk as well. Just
Stop running around to try to make domestic sales. So when they get involved in the domestic market, doesn't that just drag the domestic factories into it too? Everyone.
Well, it does, and if they try to sell the products domestically, they're going to have to sell them at a lower rate. I mean, of course. I mean, there's a reason why they're shipping them across the fucking world to the United States so they can make more money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They can those tariffs, yeah.
It's much lower? Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
supply and demand. Yeah, buying up Chinese business infrastructures must be booming.
Yeah, that's why they can afford their own places, their own apartments. You know, it's because they could charge more. U.S. dollar is a lot higher than the yuan over there.
Maybe. I don't know if it's going to happen. Why should we care about these Chinese bills when Americans can't pay their own bills? Well, what I'm saying is that, that's the effects of these tariffs will, I think that they will I think that they will negatively affect China more than they negatively affect us.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are selling. Like, it will negatively affect the U.S., but I think that it will do it more to China. And doesn't mean you should do it, right? I mean, like, as I said, I really hope they resolve this. Because, like, I feel like this entire issue, I think it's a bullshit issue in a big way, right? Because you have
they've been abusing us.
You know, we've got a good thing going here, right? Like, we've got a lot of everything's going really well. Our economy is doing really well. China's economy is doing really well. Everything's fucking fine. So just stop stealing shit and make a few.
Well, yeah, stop your tariffs and abusing us and taxing us on things that you sell. You know, we're not doing all that stuff to you. You don't do that to us. Let's make this fair trade. It's all about fair trade. That's what it's been all through the ages, since the Neanderthal times. It's about fair trade. If you're getting dicked, then you're going to want to put the hurt on it. You know what I'm saying? And stuff. Overtaxation against the American people and everything. That's what has happened.
Few concessions and everything can move on. If that's unreasonable, then I feel like we need to have a conversation about this.
Is getting caught in the spiral, and in the end, we'll all collapse together. The impact is really huge.
Yeah, by that taxation, of course, like I said, where they can afford homes, their own homes, you know, high rises, stuff like that. They can afford things they weren't able to before. This wasn't just Democrats that caused the situation. Republicans, actually, I believe Republicans started this process. And then it's like, I believe there was George Bush Sr., I know Clinton, Obama, then of course, yeah, George Bush Jr. Of course it did. So it's like both parties wonder about Reagan. Or how much Reagan and George Bush Sr.
And some people probably haven't realized it yet. Whether it's the impact on their foreign trade or on our factories that don't deal with foreign trade, it's all very significant. On April 7th, a TikToker from Foshan visited a newly built factory district and recorded footage of the vacant and neglected factory buildings.
He said, "Look at these factories that were just built last year. Now I can't even find a single person. There are no cars or people on the road. Some of these factories are single-story and others have multiple floors."
It's like a fucking economic rapture. Really? Like, I mean, for this to happen that fast? Holy shit. They're committing absolute slavery, actual...
Yeah, and what we heard today where Trump has rolled back on phones and computers, no, really had to do with the Apple. Trump pussied out. He did. I don't know who the fuck did. But it's evident from this. We were winning. Then he pussied out. I tell you, Xi Jinping and the other countries are laughing their asses off. We're laughing their ass off. You're not going to take any president seriously that pussy's out. That's what Trump did. You can't give an inch because they'll take a foot. You give it an inch, they'll take a foot. And Xi Jinping is like, that's what I thought. That's what Xi Jinping is thinking. In their mind, they already won. And in a way, they did.
Slavery beyond their own Chinese workers, they pretty much run the entire bottom line of the cobalt pipeline, which is legit actual slavery.
Yeah, slavery, yes.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, you know, we could moralize about how, like, and I hear a lot of people, in general, I think that the consensus is that slavery is kind of bad, right? But the main issue also is that if one group is using slavery and the other group isn't using slavery, well, you think about it in Schedule 1, for example. If I didn't have to pay the chemists and the botanists any money, I probably would have already bought the house at the docks.
We already have some slavery.
Really? You think about how much of an advantage that is. You don't have to pay people money. That's huge. I'd be way farther along.
The landlords spent nearly 1 billion yuan to build these. Just a few years ago, these beautiful buildings were all leased out by middlemen. You had to wait in line to rent a factory space. But now, there isn't a single customer coming to view the space. The new factory buildings behind me haven't even been renovated yet because the landlords are afraid of spending money if no one rents them.
Do you think this could get a hand that the CCP would go in to invade Taiwan to save face?
They paid their rent. They're not fast.
I think that every country is, like, there's a lot of international trade that happens. So if they tried to do something militarily, I think that would damage their relations with other partners as well. Because, like, right now, they can probably still sell a lot of their products to other countries besides America. And it's not like they only export to America, although America is a big part of their exports. But if they're, like, embroiled in a war and, you know, they lose the, like, international support, and then other countries don't want to trade with them either, like, kind of like what's happened with Russia, this will be very bad for them. And so, like, I think ego only goes so far.
The manufacturing industry in decline, every industry is struggling.
He recalled that some Chinese companies moved to Southeast Asia to avoid the U.S.-China trade war a few years ago. Now, this new wave of tariffs is a heavy blow to those companies because some countries have even higher tariffs than China.
See, yeah, because Trump knew this shit was going to happen. That's why he put the tariffs on the Penguin Islands too. If you tariff China, but you don't tariff the country right next to China, they're just going to move all the stuff over to that country and then just run it through that country instead of China.
Party.
Fucking obviously. Party. I mean, this isn't even like a 5-head idea. It's just like, yeah, of course they're going to do this. And why does Trump know that? Probably because he did it. He's probably done things that are very similar to that himself.
He questioned where these companies should go next, stay in Southeast Asia, move back to China, or shift to Africa.
Why do you support IP rights? Don't you think they're monopolized by giant corporations? I do think that IP rights are something that probably should be reevaluated, but I think that's something that we should choose to do ourselves rather than have that agency taken away from us by China. Bro, what is she doing?
That's was.
I got that. She's brave. That's crazy. I would not have expected that. Wow.
On April 7th, Ms. Gong, a manager of a Bluetooth headphone export company in Guangzhou, told Radio Free Asia that most companies in Guangdong that used to trade with the U.S. have stopped accepting orders due to tariff barriers.
Yeah, of course.
She said, I had dinner with people from the industry yesterday, and they told me that they used to export products from Vietnam to the U.S. Now most of those...
That's a lot cleaner than it used to be. I remember seeing some real sweatshops. There still are. But this is a lot different from what I remember.
Orders have stopped. They're not taking new orders. They're just waiting to see how serious the situation will get. Right.
I think this is also another really big component is that this is the reason why I think that it's hard to understand what's going to happen is because Trump could just announce something that's crazy out of fucking nowhere, right? Kind of like what happened the other day. If you look at the stock market, let me see if I can find it. Look at this, right?
Wow.
So it's already it went down massively, then it went back up. It went down yesterday, now it's back up today, and so it's it's getting close to it's recovered by about 50%. So it's still down by I don't know 1 or 2% or so. And so, yeah, it's kind of just holding. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens, right? But I think that as soon as... Oh, sorry, you guys can't see. I didn't realize my camera was in the way. But yeah, you guys can see that. People just don't want to invest and put money into something that's uncertain. And I think that as soon as, things become more certain...
All right, so I want to... I'm trying to see about that news on the tariffs. If I can spell it right. That's not, yeah, that's 13. Let's
investments global tech companies have committed to making here in the United States. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying, quote, President Trump has made it clear America cannot rely on China to manufacture critical technologies such as semiconductor chips, smartphones, and laptops.
Yes,
she says companies like Apple and NVIDIA are hustling to onshore their manufacturing in the U.S. as soon as possible. So to discuss that a little bit more, we want to bring in former World Bank Group U.S. Executive Director, Commerce and Treasury official Matthew McGuire. Matthew, good to see you. Thanks for being here. These exemptions are just the latest reversal in President Trump's tariff strategy. I'm wondering how significant you think they are and what kind of impact they will have on businesses and consumers.
Well, the impact is great for the large tech companies, the Apples and the others that spend most of their time and energy building in China and selling into the U.S. Works for them. The challenge I see here is first and foremost for U.S. consumers who will continue to be hammered. And this ultimately is the problem with economy by edict or governing by the whims and phone calls of just one man. Put some numbers to it, and your colleague just mentioned some of this. About 95% of all shoes in America, about 95% of all toys in America are made in China. So basic needs that American families have are going to go up by quite a lot. And those were not exempted. Big tech was.
Just have to go without shoes.
Another example, soybean farmers. There are about 500,000 of them in America. They lost about $20 billion in market share in the first Trump administration when he put similar tariffs on. Well, China has not taken down their tariffs on us selling soybeans to them going forward. So soybean farmers in America will continue to get hammered, and many could well go out of business. The third thing I would say is this economy by edict is really troubling a lot of investors around the world. And what we saw this week was a big bond sell-off. United States bonds, treasuries, have been historically considered risk-free, meaning that people had absolute faith in the credit and full faith of the U.S. government. What we're seeing when people sell our treasuries is people are no longer having that full faith. So that's very worrying from a foreign policy perspective, but it's also very worrying for American consumers, and it means mortgages go up, more expensive to buy a house. Auto loans go up, more expensive to buy a car. And they're just basic small businesses that need loans, those costs are going up. So in full, I see this as great for a couple of big tech companies, and it's great that people don't have to pay as much for flat screen TVs, but I think that gets overwhelmed by all the other damage that continues to be done for American consumers.
Matthew, give me an estimate here, if you will. The president says his goal is to bring these companies back to manufacturing here in America. What does something like that, how long does that take to get these companies back here to build their factories, to begin to hire people, to manufacture? What's your estimate on that?
Years.
Generally, people say anywhere from 2 to 5 years, but the first thing that has to happen is people have to believe these tariffs are actually going to stay in place. If the president is changing policy by phone call here and there, then...
That's the thing. It takes years for them to get the rights, to get the zoning rights, to get stuff in place, for them to build. It takes years to do that. By the time all stuff happens, Trump will be out of office. This could take 15 years to get his vision or other people's visions done about how we should be self-reliant. I believe also the Chinese or any other nation should be self-reliant too. The thing is, the U.S. is a gold mine for people. It's a gold mine. There's business that all these other countries could get into from the U.S. that they can't get from the other country. It's a gold mine. Now, there are niches and stuff like that with other countries, whether it's clothing, shoes, etc., but not as big a gold mine for other countries as the U.S. is for them. That's just fact. So, I mean, like I said, this has been talked about before. It would take years to get all the infrastructure. And by then, he'll be out of office. There's going to be a new president that doesn't like what President Trump has done. Will just put up tariffs, will get ripped off again, or whatever. Depends how you see it. People see it. I mean, the thing is, they do create. Taiwan is a major producer of semiconductor and microchip stuff like that. Then there's China and stuff, and we should be, you have parts of California that also makes processors and chips, stuff like that, but not even on a level that China and Taiwan does. Not even close. They make the biggest amount. and we're too reliant on them, and we should be. So
people aren't going to be able to plan and think that that's really going to happen. But the second thing I'd say is let's look at the record. Let's look at the past. Remember, there was the huge announcement that Foxconn, the big Chinese company, was going to build in Wisconsin, and tens of billions of dollars were supposedly coming back in, including about $3 billion that the state of Wisconsin was going to give Foxconn. They ended up spending about $600 million, ended up hiring about 1,400 people, and if I'm not mistaken, someone else is now running that factory. So I think we have to look at the historical record and say announcements are nice, but what really matters is what happens at the end of the day, and do we have confidence that that's really going to be the case?
Yeah, and Matthew, just quickly, what do you think is going to happen this week when markets begin to respond?
I think the bond markets are the ones to watch, but I think the other really important thing to pay attention to are corporate earnings. This is earnings season, and what we're seeing is companies are going to start giving us projections of what they think is going to happen over the next 3 to 6 months. That's a really important barometer. It's less what happens phone call by phone call and more.
For big tech, this is a way there's to be some balancing still. I've always said that the stock market is overinflated. It needs a correction, that it could go down thousands of points depending. I don't think I think I pussy now. I do. These have gone bad for some electronics, but we have to learn to take some suffering. Americans need to learn to take some with that type of. We go through enough with bills and stupid taxes. We do, but I'm saying with technology and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people have a right to curse me out. Let me see if my trust your word testifies 1,000 days ago. These Amazon prices. I'm not going to go there just because she's hot. I think I think UFOs will be last. Let's go to voice actors, because I have a lot with this artificial intelligence stuff. Female dating strategy. Oh God, I never done that.
I wanted to cover this because it's so fucking ridiculous. The Genshin Impact voice actors are having a very, very bad month. It's been going on, and apparently crashing out on Tectone, getting upset about other people as well. And, oh my God. Again, yes. Well, the reason why they're upset about this, it's actually very simple. They know they're going to get replaced with AI.
It should be illegal. It should be illegal. This is another thing why I hate the government, because they don't protect us from artificial intelligence. They don't protect our jobs. Most of us will be replaced by automation, artificial intelligence. He doesn't see a problem with that because he doesn't have a real job like a lot of other people do. He does it through content creation. He doesn't. So that's why he doesn't seem to care about it. Now, people's voices, these companies, gaming companies and stuff, when they go through your microphone and stuff like that and see what people say, through terms of service and EULA and stuff, that you'll find that they can take your voice and they'll use that for artificial intelligence. They'll use our voices. Again, this is one reason why I curse our government, because they're not protecting us from artificial intelligence stealing our content, my work, my videos, I'm not talking about YouTube videos, I'm talking about other content that I've done. our videos of voice, our voices, our other work, and you're talking about adult stuff that I've done, and other adult creators, other adult stars I know, stealing our work, stuff that we've written, whether it's romance, hot romance, or erotic that I've done, or whatever. Artificial intelligence steals that. They go through our stuff and they steal it. I've had creators, for years, I got in touch with me and said, AI has stolen my creation. It's stolen my work. And they take it for themselves. These are companies. This is what they do. And even the doctors, even people, these days at T-Mobile, customer support will be replaced. And they already have been. Over 60,000 jobs have been lost already with AI. Gaming as well. Because they don't have to pay AI. They just have to put in the computers and stuff like that. They don't have to pay actual human workers. They'll have to give human workers health benefits that cost tens of millions, billions of dollars. They'll have to waste that money putting in computer infrastructure, to put in voice models for all these different companies, customer support. Where a lot of companies are already using that. We're not talking to a real human. It's an AI voice that we're talking to. Should be illegal. It should be talked about more, but it's not. And so a lot of what he's talking about pisses me off because he has no understanding. He has not only no understanding, but he's really ignorant emotionally to this, because none of the effects are like affects so many other, tens of millions just here in the U.S. that are trying to have a job. I mean, we're supposed to get a job. We're not supposed to have Social Security and stuff. And AI replaces human productivity. It's about replacing human beings, really.
I know it. Everybody knows it. The only person that doesn't know it, actually, I would say it's them, but they also know it. That's why they're mad.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. Hope you've had a great weekend. And I gotta come clean about something.
Isn't it crazy how this is still going on too, by the way?
Okay. I was already in the middle of making this video.
It's crazy you don't understand.
But it was all so stupid that I was actually at a loss for words like half the time. And I ended up deleting the video because it was just coming out so messed up, because this whole thing is so freaking unbelievable.
It's dumb.
So, do you remember that Karina, the VA for Paimon, do you remember that Karina video that she made on TikTok where she was like crashing out, getting all angry, all mad?
YouTubers don't...
Holy fuck. Man. This is why they want to replace people, because stupid American crazies are mouthing off. They look crazy, demented, psychos, and this is why they don't want to employ humans. In Japan, okay, voice actors ain't like this in Japan and these other countries. This is America or Europe. This is stupid Western people, particularly women in particular. In Japan, you stay silent. You don't talk. You got a complaint, you make sort of a complaint, you talk to the boss or whatever. Whether they do anything is a lot different in Asia or Japan or wherever else, right? You don't do this in Japan. This is a no-no. I know. I know how it goes in these Asian countries when you do not do what's rude. This is offensive over there. This is offensive behavior. You'll get fired for doing this, for speaking your mind like this.
Know anything? YouTubers don't know anything. They're not voice actors. They've never been in my industry. They don't know what my industry is about. They don't know anything about SAG. They don't know anything about being a non-union
SAG
actor.
is a union.
Yeah, Screen
Either.
Actors Guild.
They have more incentive to lie. They have more of an incentive to.
You're not helping your cause. You're not. It's like, since I felt that was directed at me, and when I'm more on your side, that's why I gave you the fingers, because of the way you're acting. I get you're pissed. I do. I actually do. I should take that back, but it's too late. I just felt like I was direct. Because she said, I'm not a YouTuber either. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not. But you're attacking everybody that's not you. And yet, we have much more in common than you think. Osmond, he don't really care. He don't care. It's not going to affect him. He doesn't care, really. And when you act like this, they're going to see you as Cecil B. Demented. The female Cecil B. Demented in some ways. You have a right to be pissed. I have a right to be pissed about AI as well. Because people are very ignorant to what AI does is stealing, the humanity of what humans are supposed to do, instead of having a soulless artificial intelligence doing what humans are supposed to do and taking jobs. I need to apologize about that, but Jesus Christ. I think our people feel the same way. I think anybody watching this would feel like should say it to us. That's why I did. It's like, you come at me, you just attack. You're just attacking. I felt like an attack. And that's like anybody, if they come at me, I'd be like, get the fuck away from me, or else you're gonna get hit. Like that. I don't care if you're man, woman, child, just about. Don't get in my face like that. I've been abused. I've had people try to do stuff to me. You get in my face like that, that's going to be bad. Ugh.
To lie.
How do they have an incentive to lie, but you don't have an incentive to lie? Because their incentive is just simply to lie for content, but your incentive is to lie in order to preserve your job. Like, I don't even understand. Like, the argument here doesn't even make sense. Like, I can respect, like, okay, well, this is... I'll listen to what you're saying, but, like, even if you listen to what they're saying, it's stupid.
Idiots like you fall for their shit and they get paid
See,
for
that's why you say idiots. Like you, but it's like, I should take a cue, because maybe some people think that I say listen to all of them too when I say stuff. If people need to say something, if they don't say this on chat or anywhere else, I ain't gonna know. And then I need to apologize. And it's like, we gotta say we're venting and we're pissed off because of this, right? This why? It maybe it's because of how he has it, how this is edited. It's probably because of how this is edited.
that. Hello? So nobody...
Rosie O'Donnell? That looks like a younger Rosie O'Donnell. Dude. That'd be a Rosie O'Donnell. If you look up Rosie O'Donnell, I don't feel like doing that, but Jesus, that's Rosie O'Donnell.
Somebody else's opinion that is super fucking wrong anyway matters.
It's super duper fucking
so yeah,
wrong.
that crap.
This would not
It's
even be
super duper.
half as entertaining if
You bet your happy
she
meal
was
and
not
fries on
voicing,
that, your
like
Big
this
Mac.
little like fucking fairy in the game. That's what makes it so much better.
Crash out video, the one I already discussed last week.
Yeah.
Played the whole thing last week and explained why, in my
You're
opinion, your
stupid,
take
it
is
don't
terrible. That was
matter.
a theory about what that crash out was specifically referring to, because a lot of people thought it was about the Jacob Takanashi stuff. But in fact, that crash out video occurred before
Listen
this,
to
and she
me,
was
I'm
instead
right.
probably crashing out over a video that either I made around a month ago, or a video/short that YouTuber Darkos88 made also around a month ago. For anyone curious who hasn't seen my full theory on that, I will link the
If
video
I do
where I
sound like
explain that
that's
all in
to
more
make
detail
fun,
in the description
take
for you,
myself look
with
stupid.
the timestamp to that part. But back to the main topic for
'Cause I like
this
people
video.
calling
Now
me
that we had
stupid,
a
so
quick
just to make
refresher
fun,
about
just to make
Karina's
fun.
crash out video, there
That was a crazy fucking video, man.
the Reddit post
I want somebody to say something to straighten me out. So, it's I'm afraid people may think that
I saw yesterday, where apparently over on Blue Sky, Karina was
Blue Sky
Of course.
based.
Of course.
Oh, I got my
Gentlemen, we don't need mental institutions, actually, after all.
It is a mental institution.
These people signed themselves up, and it's called Blue Sky.
saying that video, the crash out video, was actually AI. It's like
The fucking BS of this is they cancel liberals. That place cancels liberals. Are you kidding me? They defeat themselves. They cancel themselves. And they don't have, from what I hear even from other liberals, they don't allow anybody to question the ultra liberals there. It's like you gotta be a certain way or else you get cut.
take a look at this. This person.
Corilla
What?
Becker. Oh my god. Let's see. Oh my god. Oh my god, like my post. Hi Corilla, I support you, but I just think your TikTok was a bit bad though. It was just the calling them stupid part that was equivalent to Biden calling MAGA garbage, resulting in cash poor winning. You bullshit been taking Marge's advice. Marge's advice. That's true, but he shouldn't say it.
What? Person on Blue Sky, Noah Gibson, says, OMG, Karina liked my post. Hi, Karina. I support you, but I just think your TikTok was a bit bad, though. It was just the calling them stupid part. That was the equivalent of Biden calling MAGA garbage, resulting in cash poor winning. You both should have... Cash poor...
I think, yeah. I mean, she ruins it for her side. I can ruin things for my side the way I get pissed off, too. And stuff. Everybody tells me that. And you come off a certain way, you blast people. You call everyone stupid, though. I mean, that's just... If and when I ever do that, it's because I want somebody to say something back to me. It doesn't happen. I try to make some funny, but it's like, dude. But it's like this UFO stuff. I say that's so fucking retarded. Just because I think it is when people say UAP, right? It's a personal thing, but that's a trigger thing for me. It is, but it's like I could call everybody stupid. I mean, I think people, that's different.
Poor winning? Is this like some sort of fucking like 7th degree of removal reference to Donald?
It's a 7th degree of retardation. And I've been around so-called retarded people. They're the nicest people. They're a lot smarter. Actually, retarded people are the nicest people. The nicest. They aren't like that. They don't get angry as me, they don't get as angry as other people. They don't go mental crazy, they don't. They have more together, usually. Depending on what they have, on what development, issue they got. But I'm talking about violent and stuff like that, getting in your face. They have more together. Now, they can be loud, and you feel like they'd be obnoxious always, but you go out in the street, you see how people are. Go on the bus. I hear people talking, they want to kill somebody. Or they kill you on the bus. I've been around it. And then these other developmentally, impaired people come on. They're a breath of fresh air compared to the crazy. It's like, thank God I know these people by looking at them not, they're crazy. They aren't the guy on fentanyl that I just saw moving into traffic, weaving in and out of red light, and people all boozed and doped up on fent.
Taken Marge's advice. The gif of Marge that they include
It's true, but
saying
you
that's
shouldn't
true,
say
but
it.
you shouldn't say it. To which
Man.
Karina responds, get this, says, oh, by the way, I have learned that the TikTok you were talking about was AI. It was not my original TikTok. So yeah, maybe don't listen to Reddit at all.
Like, okay. What?
What?
What? What? That was not AI. That was...
What? What
the fucking hell no!
About? Like, this is... Wait, What?
A response from the user Corn saying, did you watch it or are you just letting people lie to you now? It's quite literally from your TikTok account. And another user Diamond said, Karina is full of it and trying absolutely anything to try and discount any criticism. It's working about as well as you see here. And yeah, most people are calling Karina out for this. However, some people are actually just believing what Karina said.
Wait. So she recorded a video on her own TikTok and uploaded it, and somebody criticized the video. And then she, in order to deflect from the criticism...
Oh. Hear voices in my head. See. Hold on, let me get a little Dr. Pepper. Get some sugar in my life. Oh my God. Hold on. Oh Lord. Dr. Pepper. It's probably my glasses too. But, holy shit. Good migraine. Also puts on weight. Please tell me what you think, leave a like. Where do you get into Star Wars a bit? I need to get to my OnlyFans sometime.
Said the video that she uploaded onto her own account was AI. There's
too much now, you're sick.
There's no way, right?
No, really. That wasn't AI. I know it wasn't AI. No, I could tell by her face. I could tell by the hair. That was a live person. AI, you see it look more game-like. Texture. The different face is not going to look that human-like. There's certain things that AI can do, can't do the same mannerisms, facial gesturing. You can't do all that yet.
Hey, what? She's against AI? No, not only that, she was trying to harass.
You lie! You lie! AI, you use AI. Oh my god. Oh my god, you're so full of shit. Oh my god. Oh, my head is hurting. Is there anybody else?
People that were scabbing and working through the workers' strike, but then it was discovered that she was also working through the workers' strike, and then she tried to excuse it.
No. Let me tell you, man. If you're such an advocate for SAG, Screen Actors Guild, and there's a lot of protests. Hollywood had a huge protest over AI and this BS. And some people like her are the reason why they want AI. They don't want the insanity. They don't want the insanity of that. Because people like that, it's a very definition of insanity. People need to take pills. Or take a pill. There used to be a song from the 1930s, 1920s. Or if you're feeling down, take a pill. That's from the 20s. Take a Skittle, girl. Take a Snickers. I should give you a Snickers. Yeah, I should. Makes sense.
And say that because she's disabled,
she ain't gonna use AI. Is what I'm trying to. If my head will not be splitting right now. You're not gonna use AI. Are you fucking kidding me, Gorilla? Gorilla, are you fucking kidding me? No, you're not, because obviously you lied. That wasn't me. That was AI. Truth on you. No, it ain't. Are you fucking kidding me? Cecilia Beatiment, Corilla Beatiment. You're not helping your cause either, sister. There's things that people fault me for not having my cause. Man. Let me tell you. You go and do that, pull stuff like that, you get more enemies. She just made a lot more enemies.
then it's okay.
Like, they'll just believe anything, apparently. We'll get more into that later. But first, let's continue with the context. Because Noah Gibson returns and says, so this is AI, and you've never said this? I agree that YouTubers don't know anything, though. And linking to a Reddit post about the Karina crash out video, to which Karina responds and says, yes, that is AI. And yes, the YouTubers do know it. They just don't care. So according to that post...
What the fuck? Stop wrestling with
what?
me, bitch.
What the? Wait.
Match?
I I don't even. What is real anymore? I don't even know what's real.
No, that wasn't AI. That wasn't AI. Dude.
It seems like Karina is saying that the crash out video isn't real. That's not actually her crashing out. That's obviously.
But it's her. But I thought it was her account.
Just AI, and the YouTubers talking about it, they know it's AI. They're just like malicious or something. They're just trying to manipulate people by posting and talking about this AI video that they know.
This is a smokescreen, a defensive. No, this is like a smokescreen where like somebody says,
it's not AI.
let me think of a good example. Somebody asks you, you're at the grocery store and you have 30 items and you're at the express checkout lane and they say, could you please, go to the real line because you have too many items, and then you just decide to, I don't know, like light yourself on fire. Like, just nothing about this makes sense.
No, it's like you're at these people at a Walmart store. They steal stuff and they try to hide it in their bag or something like this. And they say, excuse me, do you have stuff in there? And it's like, oh, this is mine. I just brought stuff in here. Oh, they have tags? Oh, that wasn't me. This is AI. I swear it's AI. Yeah, that story, man. You can say that in court. Right now you're going to jail.
I don't even understand it.
Is fake or something. Yeah, I remember the beginning of this video where I said I already recorded all this and like gave up on the first attempt because this is all so stupid. Exactly. Noah Gibson then responds to Karina and says, all they care about is grifting, the outrage for clicks. That's all YouTube is these days.
Well,
so apparently this person,
but what about the video?
The voice actress who's like publicly making false accusations about people, that's totally fine, right? But anyone talking about the crash out video is just grifting. Like, they're the problem. These people are actually nuts. Like, this is just insanity. Fortunately, the majority of people aren't like that and are in fact calling Karina out. For example, this person, Average Asian Elephant, saying, it's quite literally on your page. Why are you lying? You're just digging a bigger hole for yourself. Another user, Repsu, saying, my dog ate my homework.
I'll show speed. My dog ate my homework. As AI ate my homework.
And someone below that's just laughing.
AI ate my homework.
Oh, my bad. Forgot the one.
Bro, you've actually... The thing is that in order for you to fuck up so bad that you have people on Blue Sky that are roaching out on you, this is like like, if this was on Twitter, oh, bro, this would be trending.
Yeah, it would.
Love that too. Says, at least delete your TikTok before this. LMAO, this is embarrassing. Making this all so much even more hilarious is that what Karina said there would actually get reposted to the Gaming Circle Jerk subreddit. For those that don't know, that subreddit is basically full of modern audience types who constantly lick the boots of corporations and will take a stance against gamers no matter what stance that is. For example, like last month when a lot of gamers were critiquing Ubisoft and AC Shadows, that subreddit was constantly defending Ubisoft and AC Shadows. Like I said,
isn't it funny to me that those people that were defending Assassin's Creed Shadows, I wonder how they feel now that Ubisoft is having to fire a bunch of people. They've restructured the entire company. Their stock might get delisted from the American exchange because it's going to go under $1. Like, I wonder, like, do you ever feel any sense of guilt or responsibility that you've carefully crafted a false reality that some devs decide to subscribe to accidentally, and now you've caused them to lose their job because you've created a reality that doesn't exist? I wonder if they ever think that. They'll still defend it? Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah, because
I don't know. Their entire thing is gamer bad, and they don't even circle jerk. Like, they're actually serious about it. They've completely lost the plot. We can see that here, for example, in the aforementioned post, which reads, Karina, the voice of Paimon, confirms that the Genshin subreddit used AI for her to spread misinformation. I love how her just being flat out wrong is confirming that post also getting over 1,000 upvotes and becoming a...
Well, you have to keep in mind that, like, this is the way Reddit communities are. Is that they're full of a bunch of fucking retards. So when you see a Reddit community that just blindly believes something with no evidence other than the fact that it vaguely confirms what they already thought, this shouldn't mean anything to you.
Sure.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, it's true because I agree with it.
Top post there for the day. One of the top responses there says, I'm going to say this once. This is, or at least should be, considered defamation. It's a complete lying made to tear down someone's reputation. This is the very definition of defamation. Except that didn't happen. And the person lying here is actually correct. However, the Genshin subreddit would ultimately find out that they were getting talked about over on Gaming Circle Jerk, with users back over on the Genshin Impact subreddit saying things like, I think it's dumb to try and lie and say this was AI when it's clearly not. And even dumber for Gaming Circle Jerk for falling for such an obvious lie. Gaming Circle Jerk falls for anything you tell them, as long as it fits their goal, which seems to be 90% politics and 10% random stuff.
This is the way it is with almost every subreddit, to be fair. That they always just believe, like it happens with my subreddit too, is that the moment that there's something bad that happens with a person who like is ideologically opposed to like the way that people on my subreddit see things, everybody's gonna go in and be like, I can't believe he did this or he would say this, right? It always happens.
Honestly, quite good for a laugh. There are no humans in that sub. Got curious and skimmed through the comments there. I shouldn't have. Some of the Genshin Impact subreddit users then going over to Gaming Circle Jerk and refuting what they say there. For example, back on the Gaming Circle Jerk post about Karina, and the comment we took a look at a moment ago saying, this should be considered defamation, they would get a response that reads, how is it defamation if they uploaded the supposed AI video? If it's AI, wouldn't they be a user of AI themselves? And the OP of the... The Gaming Circle Jerk Karina post saying,
it says, I think they meant a different video of an AI of Paimon. Calling out Karina directly, she's been really tired from being at the hospital all weekend, I'm sure. Laugh my ass off, the video they're talking about is obviously a TikTok one. It's in the picture. Need to learn how to read. With their narrative, yeah.
I think they meant a different video of an AI of Paimon calling out Karina directly. She's been really tired from being at the hospital all weekend, I'm sure.
She's in the mental facility. I'll do a lot of stuff to you.
Holy fuck, guys. Yeah, dang. What the hell is going on?
Someone else says, LMAO, the video they're talking about is obviously the TikTok one. It's in the picture. I think y'all need to learn how to read. It doesn't fit their narrative, so of course they refuse to read.
It's crazy. These people, like, how do you do this much mental gymnastics?
However, back on the news guide, there would be a bit of a plot twist. So we already read this part where Noah Gibson linked the crash out video over on Reddit, to which Karina said, yes, that's AI.
Yeah, he linked the exact video, and it's even embedded in a way that you can see what the video is.
Yes, YouTubers do know it, they just don't care. Corin then saying, is this not your TikTok account, and linking to that very video on her very TikTok account. Noah Gibson,
is this not your TikTok account? This is bad. You gotta say something fast.
Why?
Commented saying, Karina, this is bad. You gotta say something fast. Another.
You gotta say that you're in deep trouble. Mom's gonna get you. Here it is, right? It's so quick. It's all cut down on your head.
User Patrick would say, there was a post about a smaller channel that used AI, not for.
You found
this is where Tectone comes in. Of course.
This TikTok, referring to the crash out video, presumably. It's a different video, which Tectone watched on stream.
Right.
My guess is maybe things got mixed up, and Karina didn't check this Reddit link, to which Karina actually responds and says, this is exactly what happened.
What? You need someone else to explain it for you. That's red flags.
What?
So you're telling me that Tectone watched a video where someone used AI to make Paimon say something, which in fact that video does exist, and I'll show you in a moment.
I saw it.
But you're telling me that for some reason that video got posted to Reddit. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but I can't find that Reddit post. Allegedly, that's a thing, though. And you're telling me Karina knows about that Reddit post. And then on Karina's Blue Sky, when people were linking a Reddit post that's very clearly not about that.
It says it. It's right there.
But about her crash out video. And we can all see very clearly
There's
that Karina
no way this is real, right? Like, I mean...
responded to that saying that's AI.
See, this is the thing, guys. You need to keep in mind, whenever you feel bad and you're like, oh, video games are always going to be bad because these weird people are in it, keep in mind that these people have like a fully automatic machine gun and they just continuously shoot themselves in the foot. This is crazy.
Somehow, she thought that Reddit post, which again was very clearly about the crash out video, was in fact not about the crash out video, but instead about Tectone watching some AI Paimon on stream? How the frick do you even mix that up? And you know what?
The reason why is she probably doesn't like Tectone. So that's the reason.
So I am actually willing to give Karina benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to believe that she did mix those videos up, but I still don't understand how she mixed those two up when the post that she's responding.
I'm not. I just think she's a moron. Like, really? You're gonna think that? I mean, I don't think so. She took it personal when it was not about her, not towards her, but Paimon. Oh God.
Too is so clearly about her crash out video, and for her to then accuse YouTubers of knowing it's AI and saying that we just don't care when she's the one who's completely wrong.
By the way, I remember watching this AI video. I don't know if he's going to show it or not.
It was what she said that was not her face, Okay, that can, AI can do that. AI can do that, That AI can do. The face and stuff like that, so I was wrong, I guess. Yes?
Not. Yeah, he is. Everybody knew this was AI. It even said in, like, I think the title of the video, it's AI.
About all this is just ridiculous. Like, dude, the frick are you doing? And let me also say that I apologize if I repeated some of my words right there. I recorded this part multiple times, too, because all of this is so stupid that I'm having a hard time even putting it into words and, like, commenting on this. Here's the last thing.
How she said it, it's like
this is it's impressive. Like I don't even know what's happening anymore.
I don't care. I'm done with this. People can see. I feel like I shouldn't do this long. I'm sick of going on content. He's
like some 700 IQ strategy for her to get AI to become more popular, and she's trying to. Best possible advertisement. Maybe, you know what, guys? Maybe she's actually, here's what it could be. She has stock in an AI company, and this is all like some 700 IQ strategy for her to get AI to become more popular. And she's trying to, like, kind of, like, play both sides, where, like, she's making money and also virtue signaling, while at the same, like, she has severe ADHD and bipolar?
Yeah.
Why is it that, like, why is it that the people that always blame their mental disorders only end up negatively affecting other people? Have you guys ever noticed that? It's like, oh, yeah, I've got this mental disorder that makes me a fucking retarded asshole. And I have to be rude to everybody. And the only thing that I can naturally do are the things that I already want to do. So I have this amalgamation of mental disorders that has created a outcome, a world where the only way that I can exist is by sitting at home, receiving welfare, eating Doritos, ordering DoorDash, playing video games, watching anime, and jerking off. Wow, how convenient for you that this has happened. How convenient it is that all of the mental disorders that you've, by the way, not been diagnosed with in a lot of these cases, just so happen to give you the opportunity to do the exact thing that you wanted to do in the first place. Oh my God. Self-diagnosed, yes. It's unreal.
Let's see.
I can't even imagine the fact that this is real. How is this possible? Oh my God.
JJ,
Yeah, so I was
see you with
right
the next
wrong.
one.
What happens?
This is impressive.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning
Really. Like, this is...
in. Hope you've had
This is genuinely fucking impressive to me. This person has woven a tapestry of retardation that is so complex and so convoluted that I can't even mentally unravel it. I can't even imagine the fact that this is real. How is this possible? Oh my God.
So that's right and wrong. I don't feel like getting any more into this. I don't. I'm not getting anything out of it, so.
G'day!
Ross, g'day. Ross Coltart, Q&A. Tic Tac 2.0 Legacy Media Summary on Human Intelligence. A lot of us could do it. A lot of us could summon non-human intelligence. Finally, we're here. This may be the most positive part of this live stream. This actually may be the most that makes sense in this whole live stream. His face, sorry. This probably actually makes more sense.
And welcome back to Reality Check Question and Answer. I'm your host, Ross Coulthard, and let's bring...
Legal News Nation, as this is transformative, fair use, like all the other stuff. But my own experiences of UFOs, not UAPs, capiche? Alright. Let's bring it down a notch. Let's listen about. You know, the thing is, we're all able to do some of this. I've had UFOs seem to, they know that I'm watching them. I know they're watching me. I do see them, quite a bit. And some that me being able to do more is because I'm a bit messed up sometimes here with things that go on. And the people that are around here, you have to have the right vibes and everything, the right mentality and everything else. And if the right vibes are not there, then you're not going to be able to do all of that. Now let's go to Legacy Media here.
in my friend and colleague Megan Orada, who's going to skewer me with all these questions you've got from the last couple of weeks of viewing. Megan.
Yes, Ross, we have a ton of questions, but before we get to all of those, I want to begin by asking you about this new Tic Tac video. It was just released by our colleague George Knapp and Jeremy Cobell. I'll pull it up right now for our viewers. Witnesses are saying that this new video is for UAPs that look just like the famous Tic Tac sighting from 2004. What's your reaction, Ross?
I think it's great.
Well, this is the thing for what it looks like. That UFO. It knew they're watching it, and they're playing it. They're playing that aircraft. That's all psychological. They're just playing it. I know because I just know. You have that kind of psychic thing. Let me see.
I mean, good on Jeremy and George yet again for pulling out of the Christmas stocking another exciting video. It was George and Jeremy who, in 2019, the 29 videos that they obtained of US warships off the west coast of the USA being buzzed by drones, it's quite clear that the US Navy is seeing a lot of anomalous activity on the west coast in particular. But a lot of it is being suppressed and not talked about. And good on George and Jeremy. And more importantly, good on their sources for making this information publicly available. It is very significant. It does show an anomalous looking object that looks like a Tic Tac. And frankly, other than that, there's not a lot more I can say because, as usual, the Defence Department has its head in the sand and is declining much further comment on the issue.
Okay, Ross, thank you for that. Now let's get into the Q&A. We've had a lot of engagement about Skywatcher and your interview with Jake and Matt. So we will get started with Eli Orr. Hey, Ross, do you have any plans to interview any of the psionics from Skywatcher anytime soon? I would love to know more about their background and how they were trained and became involved in the program. I also remember an interview with Jake Barber mentioning that they came from an organization of some sort that explored consciousness that provided these assets. Could that possibly be the Monroe Institute?
A lot of questions in there, but I'll try and answer them all. And if I don't remember them, Megan, I'm sure you'll tell me what I've missed. I know Jordan and James, who are two of the psionics working with Skywatcher, and they're very good people. And I've seen Jordan's abilities particularly up close at Esalen. It was Jordan who was involved in the summoning that I witnessed at Esalen on the west coast near San Francisco, and I saw him psionically, how does one say this, engage with the phenomenon. And as he was telling me, we were going to see a blue orb that night, and eventually a blue orb did arrive. But what I personally saw were two golden orbs coming closer and closer towards us and my camera. And it was cool. I don't know if I can explain it. I certainly am convinced that there is some kind of ability of human consciousness to engage with the phenomenon. James, you'll also get to meet these guys, by the way. James is another of the psionics. I think both of them will probably be featured in the program that Skywatch is doing as their next episode. I'm not privy to that episode. I have no idea what they're filming, but I did notice that in the current program they've said that they'll be talking more about the psionics. What were the other questions in that long-winded question that he asked us, Nick?
Could it possibly be the Monroe Institute?
Oh, yeah, look, Monroe, I mean, there's a lot of people, this, as they acknowledge in their documentary, their mini-episode, the process by which they're using psionic engagement with the phenomenon, whatever it is not new. There's Dr. Stephen Greer's CE5, which has been used successfully and I think convincingly by Greer for many years. And more importantly, there are people who've contacted me ever since I first talked about psionics last year, telling me that they have an ability to somehow consciously connect with the phenomenon. I'm talking to people here in Australia, for example, who send me astonishing videos of them literally talking to objects on camera, and then these objects seem to respond in some way. I wish I could explain it. I wish I had all the answers. I wish I could explain how psionics works. It's a very, very exciting area of...
It just is. It just is. You don't have to exactly explain it. It's like telepathy and other stuff. It's a whole psychic communication and everything. There's nothing to actually explain. It just is. And stuff. So
science, and much as the skeptics and debunkers will try and stick it all back in a sock and say it's rubbish and paranormal nonsense, I think we are on the cusp of a new paradigm. I think that there is a link between human consciousness and the phenomenon, whatever it is, and it's super exciting.
All right, next.
We're not human. We're not human. We're not. We're always something more. We're made of energy and stuff. We're just flesh bags. These are just vessels and stuff. I mean, it's like, I think they need to stop worrying about that. There's no such thing as science. There isn't. And you talk about scientists are really retards, idiots. The top ones are idiots. They don't know as much as I do. They don't know as much as he does. They don't know as much as these other people that have dealt with psychic telepathy and remote viewing stuff. I know more than they do about what is real and what isn't. That isn't ego, it's just a fact and stuff. And I've told them that. I'm not afraid to tell them that they're stupid, and that science cannot go further until it evolves into, into spirit applications and stuff, until it acknowledges the truth of UFOs, ETs, spirits, NHI, types it is,
So we have a question from Suburban Gorilla 5515. Now, Russ, he's going to reference here the dog whistle, which, viewers, you'll recall, Jake said in our last episode they had a 100% effectiveness when they did this out on the range. His question, curious thought, why does the dog whistle work? Why would NHI curiously respond to this on demand? Can't resist, Pavlovian behavior, anxious to interact.
Actually makes sense in a way.
That is the $1 billion question. I have no idea.
It makes sense in a way. It does. They have their own communication. Other beings are out there. Let me see. I want to get to. Hold on. And you're just slow as fuck. Yeah, he did.
Transparency breeds trust. New boss, same as the old boss. This administration is no better when it comes to transparency about UAPs. Investigative journalist Jeremy Corbell, along with his partner George Knapp, got their hands on newly released Navy footage of UFO sightings from 2023. What you're looking at right now is the footage and what Corbell believes to be one of 4 tic-tac-shaped UFOs. I'm sure there's a better way to talk about them. Emerging from the water, then flying at supersonic speeds. Out of the water, supersonic. How? Corbell then spoke to an unnamed member of the Navy who witnessed these firsthand, said this.
To see the lights emerging from water, what we witnessed was all 4 of them, all in synchronous, jetting off into the abyss. All 4, all timed together, and all left. And we were like, holy shit. maybe 3-4 seconds pass, I run to my station and I look at my radar and they're all gone.
Scorebell Wright, is the government keeping important information from you? Joining me now, investigative journalist, co-host of the Weaponized podcast, my friend Jeremy Corbell. The floor is you, Jay. What do people need to know?
Yeah, man, this is an interesting case. There is power in military footage. It's few and far between that we get great sensor data on something that is truly anomalous, and that's what we're seeing here, backed up, of course, by the eyewitness testimony. You know, this ship is one of the most technologically equipped ships, but additionally, this is a senior ranking Navy official who I believe will end up coming forward. They saw these craft coming out of the water, at least one of them coming out of the water. That's transmedium. This is in the Combat Information Center. Also, they saw 4 of them in total. They saw them on radar, then they picked them up in thermal. That's why it looks black and white. But if you look at a plane through that system, you see wings, the tail, exhaust, rotors, all sorts of heat signatures. You're not seeing that here. So again, it was tracked on radar, tracked on thermal. There was a kind of a synchronized, coordinated, instantaneous departure described to me and George Knapp by the first-hand witnesses. This is really reminiscent of the 2004 Tic Tac UFO, where Commander David Fravor, who testified in front of Congress, chased a UFO for the United States military. Cat's out of the bag. Sailors are seeing stuff, and now we have more evidence.
How big, and do we have stuff like that?
Yeah, no, everybody says we don't have stuff like that. Don't take my word for it. Commander David Fravor testified in front of Congress. We didn't have technology like this in 2004. We do not have technology like that now. We also wouldn't be testing, you know, kind of black budget technologies in these warning areas right off the coast of San Diego. This has been going on for decades, if not centuries. We don't have technology like this, but take the word of people that testify in front of Congress who know.
Why do you think they're not telling us?
Because
yeah, man, it brings us back to like the core question here. We want transparency. We want the truth. We've been told UFOs are real, but that's it. Congress has done their best so far. I am holding hope. If you remember this last hearing at Congress, I was able to bring in.
Don't hold hope. Don't. These are the same lying SOBs that have lied, including Republicans. Same psychopathic liars lied to the American people, saying that all these drones over New York, across the country, not just New York, across the country, around the world, that's happening in, was all drones. It is all human. It is all homeowners, private owners. It's all bullshit. They don't want the people to know the truth. They lie to people. They want to create more patriot type of laws, surveillance laws, criminalize, usage of certain parts of drones, and say, stuff be used for terrorists. All bullshit. Republicans, Democrats, doesn't matter. They're all a bunch of rats. These are all rats. To keep it a secret, they're a part of the deep state, these people. And they don't want people to know the truth. Because it'll put them out of power. They want to hold on to power. They lose all the power if the truth comes out. And that's why we have to force it out. We have to go around the government. There's no reason I have no respect for it. None. Zero. So.
In the Immaculate Constellation documents, and I actually brought the whistleblower himself in to speak with members of Congress. He didn't testify publicly for personal reasons so far, but we learned from his testimony that there are thousands of videos of high quality of UFOs, UAP that's been admitted to, the public hasn't seen. I'd sure like to see them.
Jeremy Corbell, I'm always a call away to give you a platform to increase our understanding and make the case for transparency. I'm with you, brother. Thank you for bringing this to us tonight.
Thanks, Chris. We'll get there. Keep pushing.
All right, Jay, take care. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to join and...
Don't ever look for the government to tell you the truth. They never do. They will lie. They'll blame the other side for the problems. And nothing will get done. Usually. Sometimes they fix a couple things to keep people from revolting. But let's see. The world needs something big to open our hearts and lives to somehow more, to something more, instead of fighting greed. Before this, we're going down. Snow White. What a bastard she is, sick one. Boy. A lot of stuff I already know about. This stuff I already know about. It's like, I already know about stuff. It's just, well, I'm not getting anything enough to keep going. For some reason, it's not letting me do that. Yeah, I think I'll do for that. The other stuff I'll do on my own bit. But anyways, there's more sadder with the UFO stuff than there was the other. But anyways, hope everyone's good. Waiting down really hard. Leave a like. About what you think.